Well, hey, guys and gals. I see Lisa in here. Hey, Hope, Todd, the Sun Bunny, Phil. Click the link, Phil. Come on in. Glad to see everybody here. Who else is in here? Did I miss somebody? Healthy Honey. Good to see you. I think I got everybody right now. And, today is a day that will live in infamy. My wife is probably excited. I got about a pallet worth of stuff out of the kitchen. Cases of frames and all that and whatnot. 8 out of 10 took Cali Queens. That's the gamble, though, right? That's the gamble that we play with Queens. Some will, some won't. And I hate to say, so what? Hey, Darren, good to see you. I don't know. Let me see if did I post that picture up? I know I can find the picture. In case you guys didn't see I know some of you I sent it to. Matter of fact, I sent it to Todd. So I will pull that photo up. And wow, I thought it was higher def than that, but it's not. So let me show you in case you haven't seen it. Facebook, share, edit stream. So this is the current configuration. Got the porch / honey house cleaned out. Got me a little thinking chair right there. This pallet of boxes over here on the right was frames. I had 3 boxes of frames in the house. I had some deeps, which I actually moved. Everything moved out of the kitchen except for the bottling and the bottling tank and the bottles and stuff I got inside. So I still have to move that stuff back out. But all these supers have frames in them now. All these boxes have frames in them. So trying to make it. Someone made a comment on my live stream earlier about the reason why the controller on the Lyson is on the opposite end from the valve, which I know that it's because it's designed to go into a honey sump. Well, guys, I'm not prepared to get a honey sump yet. Could I buy it? Yeah. But the not really thinking about getting that right now. Well, I thought about it, but I don't think because of the way I've got an outlet on this end. I don't know if you can see my cursor. On the end of the uncapper over here, I've got a honey gate on the table. The blue looking one, that's just because I haven't pulled the plastic off of the stainless in the back. It's got a gate towards the extractor there. And then the extractor has a gate. So I'd have to have 3 things emptying into a honey sump to then be pumped out, which to pump into another vessel, like my bottling tank or into buckets or something like that. But the thing is, the honey sump sits on the ground. So then you have to pump it back up somewhere. And that's kind of where it gets iffy. But I did get the extractor all cleaned out. I actually just drug the hose. The hose is in the middle of the floor there. Sprayed it all out. Got all the wax bits and everything out. Opened the gate out into a 5-gallon bucket and got it all cleaned up. So that's the current situation in the honey house. I'm liking it right now, but I'm sure I'll change it again before it's done. I just wanted to share that with y'all. So there you go. That's that. And that's kind of what we've been doing. Hey, Michael, good to see you. Sean, good to see you. DC. Let me see. Well, I'm back to not knowing what to do. That took a day after new secondhand bees got here. New secondhand bees. All bees are secondhand. Every bee is secondhand. So link is in the chat, in the description. Please click and come in. Makes it much easier to do a stream when people join. So let me see. One colony's dead, got merged with a single, and 2 of the remaining 4 are queenless. Yeah, it's always something. So I was on the phone with Stuffy that comes in the chat. He's a truck driver, and he was driving. That's why I was a little bit later after I started. I was still continuing my conversation with him. And I've got a couple of the queens that I made this year that those colonies just are not growing. And so I could jump on tonight, but I have to cook. Can't. Oh, I can't jump on tonight. I gotcha. And so I'm thinking about taking some of those nukes, at least 1 or 2, crushing the queen I grafted because they're not doing well, and then merging the nuke right into the middle of them. And we can definitely, so it's one of those things. It's just like the queen. It's a numbers game, right? Is having the number 60 or 61 more important than having a colony that is viable? So, yep. So I forget who said they got 10 queens and 8 of them are doing good, which is a good thing. So that's the numbers we play, even when we're grafting queens, right? That we're going to overgraft. So by the time we get returned queens, first of all, did they all hatch? That's going to be a number that's less than whatever you put in there, right? Then you're going to put them in their colonies, and a number will return, which will normally be less than the number that you set out there. So you're constantly doing more to achieve one goal. Are you reselling nukes? Are you selling them? Hopefully you're making good money on it. That's all I'm saying. Hopefully you're making good money on them. But somebody's got to click the link, guys. This is going to be talking to the chat box is not my favorite. I'm sure if Charlie sees it, he might see it. I kind of wasn't even planning it. If it wasn't for Todd, I wouldn't be going live right now. And then Todd left me out stranded. Left me stranded on my own tonight. I didn't even see Grayson. Is Grayson in the chat? Hey, Grayson. There you go. I see you now. Hey, folks. Good to see you. So yeah, the honey house is coming along. I need to figure out what the next step's going to be over there. Right now, the reason I don't feel pressed to buy a clarifier. Hey, my buddy. Hey, Steve.
How you doing?
World traveler, Steve.
Vegas next week.
You're going to win a lot of money next week or lose a lot of money?
Spend a lot of money on tours.
Okay. You going to Hoover Dam and all that stuff?
I've been there, but I'm bringing grandkids, so they have
Gotcha. It. So how old are your you got little grandkids though?
9 and 7.
Yeah, so the strip club with the grandpas out.
I go by myself.
So the control box is mounted to one of the legs there, Morgan. So how's your honey house set up, Steve? You do a lot more honey than I've done.
First, can I tell you a story?
Sure.
2 Thursdays ago, I was going to install 11 nukes, 2 splits, and about 15 honey supers. I'm in the yard about 6-7 hours. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. And I count my queens. I got 1 left. I missed one. I thought I had, So I was tired. I didn't want to look for another split or make another nuke. So I went to a nuke I had. I picked the top off. It had 3 of them full of honey and a bunch of bees and nothing else. So I put it 7 feet from the original hive. I sprayed it with sugar water and some honeybee healthy. I put the queen in there, and I didn't block it off nothing because I was just so tired. So I sat down for a few minutes to rest, and then I look at that nuke, and the front was full of bees, 3 inches thick. I said, I can't believe they're swarming to this hive I just put there. I opened the top. There's not one bee in there, just my queen bee in the cage. They all came out. We're all going to leave. I said, man, what am I going to do? I got to sweep them back. So I get in my pocket and I get this swarm rustler stuff. And I sprayed the front of the top of the box on the frames. And I sprayed 2 sprays in the back. And I closed it. And they marched in there. And today I checked it, full of brood, full of everything. It's perfect.
So they just went.
You made me a nuke. You made me 400. You made me $200.
So you put a queen in there, and they just decided they didn't like her, and they were going to leave.
Well, I was in a cage queen.
Yeah, so they couldn't do anything about her. They couldn't ball her. They just decided if she's staying, we're leaving.
They left, and they were only 7 feet from the original hive. I figured the worst they'll swarm back. They were out in the front, and they were going to leave. I knew they were going to leave, and there was nothing in the box, and they were loaded with bees. So I sprayed in there, and they went marching right in there. And today they're beautiful.
You know, it's funny because I look at Amazon, and I get a lot of people that are having the same results that you're having, right, or similar results, and they love it. And then I get other people that put a 1 star on there, and they're like, "Oh, I haven't caught a swarm on it," and it's like, it's not. It doesn't bother me that they don't catch a swarm. What bothers me is that they took the time to put it down like it. The only thing it could be is the lure, right? It can't be that they don't know what the hell they're doing. You know what I mean? That could not be the case, right? It's only the lure. But because my lure is so new that it doesn't have that many, what do you call it? Like reviews on the product, right? It's got a lot of you guys have left reviews. And it knocks down the percentage, which knocks down the sales, because all of a sudden, even though if it says Amazon's Choice on it, when you look at it, it's still kind of tough there,
It works great for me, I'll tell you that.
It works good for me. And I don't even use it in a trap like everybody else does, right? I use it like when I'm going to shake bees, I'll put some in there and help them walk in and everything. And I've had...
They go right in. They don't even wait a second. They're going right in.
Just crazy. Walk right on in. It's weird. Okay, I see. Oh, did he lock up on us? Must be tea time in the UK. Oh, you're lagging a bit, Sebastian. Oh, he's lagging a lot. Hopefully it clears up for him, and we'll leave him in here for a minute. There is no one single factor in catching a swarm, but people think that all they have to do is have a box and spray some in there, and they're magically going to catch bees. I've got 60 colonies out here, and if I put some in a box, I'll get bees checking it out. But I haven't caught any in any of my old equipment just sitting. And you guys know I got old equipment sitting everywhere. But I'm working on it, though. You see, with the honey house and starting to move, instead of leaving my painted gear and all outside, I started moving in on the pallets to try to get that taken care of. No, you can't swap the legs because they're welded to the band that's around there. I can loosen the band up and I could possibly turn, but I would have to lift it all the way out and then turn it and put it back in, if that's even possible. So I don't know.
You're going to create problems.
Huh? What'd you say?
Create problems. Just leave it.
Yeah. So probably
put a mirror back there so you can see what it says.
Probably next year. This year, the only reason why I didn't run out and buy a honey sump is I just don't have that much honey coming in this year. So to do that and spend more money, that would kind of start pushing me towards that red line that I don't want to be at, you know. Now, if Steve was driving down here and I'd be like, hey, go buy Better Bee. I've paid for it. Just throw it in the back of your truck.
I'm actually going to be up there in August.
In August? Oh, so
going to the racetrack up there in Saratoga.
So that might be a different situation, but you know, I've probably spent, in addition to my equipment, a couple $1,000s in shipping to get all that stuff sent down here.
That's crazy.
And Steve's in New York, Sean. New York.
New York.
You got to say it correctly.
How's the New York bees doing?
You know, one of them, you know, one was stronger than the other, right? So,
well, because I lost it in my car, they all flew away.
One of them is ready for a super. I'm giving them a few more days for some more to hatch out and really pack it out. Then I'm going to drop a super on top of them. The other ones, probably a couple weeks, I'll be able to put another box on top of them. But they do have a lot of cat brood in there, so it's only a matter of time before they start hatching and things
good
start rocking and rolling for them. But then again, if there's no flow, is what it is.
Strange, yeah. We usually have a flow that like starts in April or ends in June.
Yeah.
It starts in the middle of May.
It started in May for you?
The middle of May. And it's kicking ass now. I can't keep the supers on enough.
Well, that's what I did today. So I started, I went through a few colonies and I started like those 5/5s that I had sitting on the stand. I graduated them and I found that pissed off hive. It was one of my 5/5s that I just got in. It wasn't even, it was an import bee. It wasn't even one of my bees originally. Right. So I found it. I went to move it. And I did 2 before that, no problems. This last one I went to do, I set the whole nuke on the ground, put a bottom board down, popped the top, and as soon as I popped the top, they started stinging the crap. And I had a jacket on. They started stinging the crap out of me, and so I know which one it is now. And so might be time to requeen those that colony, but they might, you know, at this point, I don't know if I'm going to do it because I don't know if I want to gamble. Right now, they're strong. They're doing good. They're just pissy, you know, so it'll get to the point to where we hit fall, summer, or fall, winter, and they'll start, get the queen out. I know that's what everybody says, but it's $40 for a queen they may or may not even take. And to be honest with you, I can't find the damn queen in that box. I can't find it. She's one of those Houdini queens that just kind of hides. But yeah, but it's going, I mean, it's going good as far as the bees, which was the goal. So I'll be lucky this year. I feel lucky if I make as much honey as I did last year. But with that being said, I've got 4 times the colonies I had last year. Right. So to make the same amount of honey would really be a dismal year. But next year, hopefully, Dennis, you probably got some privet around there somewhere. Speaking of Dennis, did you go look at that cutout in Sumter? I'm interested in that. And just taking another painkiller, guys. So, but yeah, things are going well as far as the bees. And luckily, you know, in the conversation I had with Stuffy, he said he didn't think he could get more than what he has now because of his limited time. He's a truck driver like Mark Miller is, right? And what I found this year is the amount of colonies that I have has grown, and I've spent less time with them. And it hasn't affected them. So the topic tonight is whatever you bring to the table, James. That's what we're talking about. Not really concentrating on anything other than the dismal honey. And I found the hot hive that loved you so much. And just, working it out, just trying to work things out, and looking at the old honey processing equipment is normal. It's what we always do. So they got a compact honey pump, $2,400 for the pump. Just the pump, $2,400. That's crazy. So at the end, I would have been better to probably just buy the whole line to begin with and be done with it. But nope. Unlike everybody else, right? Started with a couple colonies. And then, like when you started, Steve, did you envision having as many colonies as you have now?
I wanted 5. I started with 3.
And you're like, I'll get up to 5. And then next thing you got 100.
You can't stop it. It just happens. What are you going to do with the bees? They're going to swarm and let them swarm? You buy boxes for them.
What's that?
You buy boxes for them. You don't let them swarm. You split them.
Yeah. And so the only thing I can do is get to the point to wherever that number is, I'm going to stop at, and then nukes, right? Sell nukes, sell nukes, sell nukes. So that's the only thing.
Doing good this year.
Huh?
The nukes are doing very well this year.
I haven't put up any more for sale. I probably could. And, but then it's the queen, I have to graft queens and get them mated and come back and everything. So that's kind of the thing right now is I'm just kind of holding my ground and trying to see what grows and what don't. And I haven't been very lucky with, just like putting a frame of bees. Even the colony that I shook the nurse bees in the other day to give them some strength. Yeah, they got a lot of strength on one frame. They're not, you know what I mean? It's like that one frame, they're covered on it now where they weren't before, but they're not like blowing it up like that. So, we're just.
I mean, it's crazy. I got a hive that's blown up, and the one next to it's nothing. Nothing's happening. The next one's blown up. It's weird.
So I've got that one stand that I made splits and added my queens to. 3 of the 5 on that stand are doing great. 2 of them just suck. And so those are the 2 that I was talking about originally, taking some of those nukes and just crushing the queen. Yes, I did. I did neutralize the mites in those nukes. They help themselves. So after I treated them for mites and hit them really hard, they eliminated a bunch of the old bees that were probably sick, kicked them out when it rained and cold. And there's a pile of bees in front of them, but the box is doing good, right? The queen's laying. They've got all stages of bees and brood in there now. So they're doing pretty well. Yeah, I did graft queens. Here's the thing. If I set up 2 frame nukes, I got to have the drawn comb and resources for it, which means I have to rob that out of another colony. So to set up 60, I would basically, that's six full colonies that I would have to split, and then I would have to build another starter finisher, which would take more. Take more resources as well. So like 7 colonies it would take for me to get going. Hey, Stuffy, good to see you again. And it was great talking to you on the phone. So yeah, that's kind of the thing that I've been looking at. Unfortunately, man, if I had your money, Steve, I would just open up a bee warehouse right here because there is none. We'd make a killing down here in the Southeast. Make a killing. I honestly believe that because just look at mine. I would have ordered from anyone else but Better Bee just because of the shipping would have been less. even if the equipment was the same price, the shipping would have been less instead of shipping it from New York down to here, right? Anybody in the Southeast that would have ordered like licensed products would have been, would save a ton of money. I would have saved $2,000. I could have bought a whole nother piece of equipment. I could have bought my honey sump. I would have had to pay for the pump, but I could have bought the honey clarifier. It's what I find is a lot of people are closing their honey stores up, Phil, because what they've realized when they have a bee operation and a store, like most of these stores that I found are actually Man Lake dealers, right? So they're buying stuff at a discount through Man Lake and reselling it, which is fine. However, they find, well, if I've got all these colonies and I sell nukes and packages and all that stuff, then I can make a ton of money up front and not have to worry about dealing with people, customers all the time and shipping. So, so there's definitely a few ways to go around it, but down here, we've got one store. They sell no extractors, right? They've got one extractor in the store that you can rent, and it's like a one that you can get for a few $100. So if you're going to be renting an extractor, you might as well go ahead and buy the Chinese few $100 one and go with it, in my opinion. Yep. See, that's exactly right. They just find that they can make as much money just selling the bees. And my thing is that I like dealing with people, for the most part. Some people are no fun to work with, but I find that even people that have called me for queens in the past and packages and nukes or stuff like that in the past, they called me again this year. Hey, do you have any queens? Do you have this? Do you have that? And this year I wasn't focused on that. I was focused on growing my own yard and getting everything back the way it needed to be. And I feel like done a pretty good job at that, but I could take some of those nukes and replace a few queens, and because some of those, like the nukes you gave me, they're doing great. And hey, Danette, good to see you. And it's just a matter of finding what you like to do and then doing it, right? If you like to sell stuff, the reason I haven't really started a store, I think, is I have a job because I have to go to the job. But if I had a store, maybe I wouldn't have to go to the job, but then the store would be my job, right? So I would go from one job to another. It doesn't really give you the now, Mark, it's like I'm thinking Man Lake is $10,000 a year in purchases to remain a dealer. And maybe even to become a dealer. And it's like $7,500 a year with PureCo, right? So unless you're just carrying Man Lake stuff, then you have purchases over there. And then you're investing money to sit, right? So you're putting money out and it's just sitting on the shelves waiting. So I'm just trying to find out what that niche is, right? Where do I want to be? And that's the $1 million question, I guess. Like with the extractor, the equipment I've got, and I've got ports everywhere now. Easiest way, put a 5-gallon bucket under each one of them, right? And just let them drain. Perfect. No problem. Here's a question. Hold on. Let me put that question up so I can read it better with my old man eyes. Okay, here's a question that opens a whole can of worms. What do you do for insurance? My insurance is me. If I lose a colony, I just make a new colony, is typically what I do. I don't have an insurance per se myself. Now, I don't have.
He might mean liability.
Oh, liability insurance? I don't know. What type of insurance? Let me see. You have 60, Bob? What's 7 colonies to go to 150? Hold on. I don't understand the question. 60. What's 7 colonies to go to 150? So right now, I'm having a little moral issue there. So James made a statement when he was here with Steve and said, I think you have too many bees in one location. And he could be right. I would probably make more honey if I had another yard to put bees on, which I do, but the other yard, I'm not sold on it because those bees may make more honey there if they can actually survive. I haven't had luck with colonies surviving over there. So, and then again, it might be something where they don't want me to load that many colonies up over there. Let me see. There's Charlie. Popcorn Charlie, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to change your name to Popcorn Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. How you doing?
Hey, Steve.
Or you remember back in the day when they had Charles chips that you bought in the can? The steel cans?
No.
The yellow can.
Yeah, the yellow can with the brown writing on it. You don't remember that, Charlie?
They still have it.
Do they? They don't have it down here. I got it when I was in the Midwest.
No, at Pringles, I remember that, but
No, this is a Charles chips is what it's called.
It used to be home delivery on stuff too.
Well, everything was home delivery. Milk, juice, eggs, all that came in your box, right?
Yes.
In a steel box on your porch.
That's right.
Yep,
Yeah,
I remember them days.
that was going out when I was young.
Yeah, right.
Man, I had it when I was young, so I know it was still around when you were young.
Well, the
It was
only
on the
place
phone.
I remember is Berg's Dairy, and they still had the trucks that would deliver, and they had ice cream and milk and maybe some bread or something like that. But I don't know. It was fading out. My aunt used to give it.
When Charlie would come home from a hard day of building the pyramids.
Pyramids.
Yeah, when you were young, they were building the pyramids.
No. I'm not that.
So, did you buy the lifter, Charlie? That's what James said.
No, I didn't buy no lifter yet.
So I did the live in the honey house, Charlie, and someone said the reason it's the Lysin extractors like that is because it's designed to go into a honey sump and then be pumped out into a bigger vessel, and which I know, right? So right now I've got my uncapper on one wall that has a honey gate on the end of it. Then I've got the other uncapping table with a honey gate on the end of it, and then I have my extractor, which has a honey gate on one side, but the other side is that has the controller. So if I turn
I think you have to, I watched the video after I got off from work, and it's one of them situations you got to clean all that, the clutter out of the way that you got there that you're cleaning up with. And then you're going to have to move things around in different positions to kind of get a feel for the flow where you're taking your capping, your uncapped frames. And to me, that needs to be right close to the extractor.
So this is how it is right now. I showed this earlier, but so.
Well, like that, like the uncapping tank in the corner, you're not going to have that in the corner.
Well, I'm going to move that closer. So when I get done here, I can move it directly into this uncapping tank to go into the extractor. That's kind of the move right now. But I can move this around in here. I move this here. This is the actual pallet that the uncapper came on, right? So I've just put the boxes of frames that I had inside and the boxes that I had inside all came outside. to get them out of my kitchen for my wife. And so I've got a little area for extraction and then area for some stuff
Yeah,
there.
but what you got to figure is, okay, the wall that the new extractor or capper is,
Right.
a short wall versus a long wall where your extractor is, right?
Correct.
Well, first thing is, if I'm going to bring supers into a place like that and you got a cement floor, it looks like to me,
Correct.
I'm going to have a dolly system. I'm going to put supers. I can stack supers on this dolly system. It's got wheels, and I can roll them supers around to where I need them to uncap them.
Right.
And so you need mobility room to roll that around. Same thing with, and then have another set of wheels for your boxes that have been for the supers with the for the boxes that have the uncapped supers. So you can wheel the empties around. And are you going to?
So right now, if everything was full,
Mm-hmm.
the extractor it's full at 30 frames. I could have 100 frames at one time working, right? 30 being spun out, 40 in this back that looks blue back there, and 30 on the uncapping table. So I could have 100 frames in process at one time, 10 boxes. Or 11 if we're doing 9 frames. So,
Me,
so the idea, yeah, I'm the same way. I thought really where I've got this pallet of boxes and stuff over there, that would be the best place to have something over there to where when I unload my extractor, I can put it right on there, take the whole, well, I can't, the pallet wouldn't fit through the door like that anyway, but a way that I could move those boxes, right? So I might have to get a little cart or something where I could put 6, 8 boxes.
you know them moving dollies at Harbor Freight, for $12.
Yeah.
Something like that where you can put a plywood base on, maybe with a railing around so the box doesn't slide off.
Oh, I can get some bread rollers. I used to work at the bread company. I know guys over there, so I could probably get some bread rollers moving around.
Is that where you have just a square thing with rollers on it? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's a dolly, and you can just stack the boxes up and roll the whole thing out of the way. Probably that way. That wouldn't even be bad if you had that, and you could put a solid piece of maybe 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch board on there, and then you could just put those crystals on the bottom and just start stacking supers on it and put a top on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
This has been a bad year for me for honey as well at this point. But what Steve was saying is stuff that, what were you saying, Steve, that it was way behind?
Yeah, but it's catching up big time right now. My nukes are filling up with honey. I got 5 high nukes full of honey.
And
I don't like deep frames to extract. That's the problem because it's a pain in the ass.
Well, right now, what I'm looking at having to do is dig through my colonies and pull frames out, like on the outside of the brood boxes, and spin them out, which I was planning to do anyway. But it's nice when you have an option to not have to do that, right? So I'll be lucky if I get the same amount of honey as I had last year, with 4 times the colonies. so that's kind of where I'm at right now. And we'll see. I did put some supers on some colonies today that were loaded up. So we're going to see if they keep on moving up,
Well, like on that back wall, there's something I'm thinking of. How are you incorporating that second tank, as far as You're
that
sitting there
tank,
extracting and it's coming out and it keeps pushing out and pushing out and pushing out. And you can hold how many in that Newman? 40?
30 with the uncapper on there. And then I'll have to move over to the other one. I could just bring it right next door, right? So I just transport them, but then I'll get lots of drips right in here where I can just move these two together basically. And as this one gets
how about end for end?
Yeah, I could do end for end to end, but the honey gate is on this side, right? On the back side of, oh, you can't see the picture anymore. Doggone, I'm sitting here talking about the picture. And
are you talking about the extractor? Or are we talking about the other tank?
So the uncapper here has on the end near the corner has a it has the honey gate is on the far end, right?
Yeah, it's on the end, yeah.
And this one, the one in the back, the honey gate is on the end towards the extractor. And then right now I just have the extractor sitting with the honey gate in front, but the controller is right in the back there.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that you're gonna fill up the 30 on that uncapping machine. Then you're gonna pull up the frames, and then you're gonna start stacking them in the other bin, the other drip bin.
Right.
And would you put the drip bin in for in or just keep it? I mean, I'm not saying what you have there, the way it's sitting right now is the most optimal layout.
Right. And I don't know what that is yet, right? Because I haven't actually worked and said, well, this is a pain in the butt.
Right.
And it might be better to turn that long ways and leave a walkthrough in between them. And then have the extractor with the controller near me and the honey gate in the back where you have to walk around back of it. So, yeah.
Why don't you use both tanks? Just use one tank and fill up the extractor. You got to be watching the extractor because it's going to be overflowing. If you don't watch it, you're going to get distracted doing two tanks.
Right. Well, I got 15-minute cycles, right? So.
Oh, it shuts off?
Yeah, it'll shut itself off after 15 minutes.
Yeah, but are you straightening it before it goes into the bucket or after the bucket?
Well, what I was doing is running through the sieve, but that was leaving a lot of fine bits and plugging up the sieve. So I've got a bunch of the painter strainers. So I'm just going to let it flow into a bucket and then pull the whole thing out, you know.
Are you making some way to get the honey out of the strainer, out of the paint strain?
Yeah, so that's another thing I got to work on. So once I'll have to.
Because you can't.
Yeah, but you might not have the wax bits with this new machine.
Yeah, with the new machine, I may not. I might, or not as much, right?
Mm-hmm. You're going to have some, but not as much.
Let me see. What about butting up the extra uncapping tank at a 90-degree angle with the extractor at the end? Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I just have to have room wherever that gate is to put a bucket or something to catch honey out of it, right?
Yeah, but you're not going to, I don't think you're going to drain it. I mean, you might drain it at the end of the day. I'll put it to you that way.
Right. Yeah, Randy just texted me a picture that Randy Klingon, he caught another swarm in the back of his pickup truck today with the swarm lure. Just coming right in his pickup truck. That's pretty awesome. I mean, that means you're not even having to wait long for it if it's still there when you flip down the tailgate and all of a sudden the swarm moves in.
That's like Larry says, it's double work transferring it to the other tank. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, you got 30 frames spinning there and you got a machine there that you're cranking. You can probably crank out another 30 frames in 15 minutes.
Yeah, so I really shouldn't be I really don't need this second tank.
Hey.
What
I'm driving at is that, you know, it's like people like they ask me about, you know, or I won't say they'll ask me, they'll talk about Having another batch ready for the extractor and all that stuff, like it's an assembly line. And for me, I'm doing it by myself, and I have to kind of watch my extractor about, being uneven because it's on a pallet screwed down. And, that thing can get kind of violent. You got to watch
And yeah,
um,
so what I'm hoping is once I get get it set up like I want to, I'm going to bolt the extractor down to the ground.
right.
And hopefully take some of that out of it. That uncapping tank that I have right now is selling for $961 plus shipping. That the second one, the one that I'm not using anymore, or haven't used yet, and the uncapper is $435. The other Steam tabletop uncapper. So maybe I just sell it. Maybe I just sell that whole unit. And hey, that would give me close to enough to buying the clarifier. But then I have to have a way to get the honey from the clarifier into the bottling tank, right? So that's a whole nother thing. And will I have enough honey to fill the clarifier to make it worth, because you got to have enough honey in there for it to flow like it's supposed to.
Like a river.
Mm-hmm. So,
well, that's a thing. I just,
and it's pretty long. So
Mark says he can do 30 frames in 15 minutes with a hot knife and all.
Oh, I can do more than 30 frames in 15 minutes with that machine, but that's all the space that I have on that table, right? So if I had the boxes ready to go, I could fill up. I'm sure I could fill up both tanks.
Yeah, I mean, the way I do it is I uncap a frame and I stick it right, and I just put it in the extractor, and I try to kind of feel it and weigh it and balance the extractor as I'm putting in the frames in. I do my 18 frames, and by that time I turn and turn my hot knife off, and then I go over there and turn the extractor on and get it going. And then usually by that time I'm tired. I want to get something to eat or to drink or something, sit down.
Well, that's why I got my refrigerator on the porch so I can have my cold beer in there while I'm extracting.
I mean, I'm only doing it in the evening, so I can either do one, maybe two loads in the evenings, and after that I'm done.
Well, part of that one or two loads is also the time that it's taking you to uncap and all that stuff too, right? With your plane. So you might be able to do more in the same amount of time.
If I had your machine, yeah, I would. I could actually uncap and load and do another batch of uncappings in at least, less time. But then the size of your machine and all those different things, then I have a issue. I have to have a honey house. I got to have a location where I can mount that stuff, have it in place, have some way of washing it and stuff like that when I am done with it.
So power to you. I did not start with 60 colonies at the beginning of the year. I started with 17. So I'm at 61 right now, but some of those I'm really contemplating finding the queen dispatcher and dropping a nuke in that box and letting them go to work with some more bee power. It's just a matter of figuring out when. Maybe that happens tomorrow. I took the colony, the swarm catch out of the swarm trooper today. It wasn't that strong, so I don't know if it's going to make it or not. So there are, everybody's got those colonies, right? That you just, they may or may not make it type of deal.
Yeah, it's like I got these nukes that I'm building, and some of them are a little bit fatter than others. And I thought I was going to have to put another box on top, but they're not that. They're laying eggs, but they're not. They don't have the food there, the nutrition. I don't see the nutrition in the jelly and stuff like that. So I've been busy. So maybe this weekend I'll get busy and mix up some 1-to-1 and put some apis in there and put some quart jars on all these nukes and see if that doesn't kind of boost them a little bit. Maybe get some patties of that pollen patties and cut it up in thirds and throw that on there and see if they'll eat some of that. Kind of boost those highs up a little bit.
I'm just looking at these prices on this stuff, and I'm realizing how much money I spent over the last actually a year, right? Last year and this year is basically 1 year that I've since I've done the honey house, and yeah, it's not including shipping is even expensive. So that's let's see, 30 frame extractor. I just saw it up here. It was 1975, well, 1976.
Wow.
Plus the uncapping tank, 961.75. Plus where's the steam uncapper? Where is that? I just saw it a minute ago. There it is. $435 plus $3,500 for the new uncapper, plus $989.75 for the bottling tank, plus more than $500 for the pneumatic valve. Isn't that what we figured out? $500, 490 something.
Plus $1,500 for the automatic packing tool pump.
Oh yeah, that thing. I forgot about that.
Just think about it. If you just sold honey, you wouldn't need all this equipment. I mean, if you just sold bees, you wouldn't need all the equipment.
So, how much do you think I spent, Charlie, before I hit the equal button on all the equipment that I bought?
15,000.
16.5.
Not including shipping, $9,862. So if you add a couple grand for shipping on there, $11,000, $12,000.
Yeah.
Not including boxes and bottles.
I just spent almost $350 just for bottles today.
But now, if I had 60 colonies that were all producing honey, and they only did the average of 50 pounds per colony in the United States, that's 3,000 pounds of honey times $10, $30,000 in honey.
Take away the cost of the jar?
Well, no. I didn't add the honey jar in there, right? So that would be, it would be 3,000 more. So it's still, I'd be at 15,000 invested for $30,000 in sales. So I would make 15 on 15,000 investment, 15,000 profit, and pay for the equipment. So
I raised my price $12 a pound.
$12 a pound this year,
and they're going crazy.
Nobody blinking.
Nobody's blinking.
So that's
except one guy on the other side of the Hudson River, a wise guy in my Facebook post, saying, he goes, $23 for 2 pounds. I get 5 pounds for $28. I'm already. So I said to him, well, I like to buy that price too. I can make a profit. I said,
right.
In the apiary, it's a commercial thing up in upstate New York where they buy everybody's honey and they process it. And that Tractor Supply sells that honey.
Yeah, so I mean, they got a different thing, right? They're making more honey, and I don't think they.
Actually, they're buying honey for $2.50 a pound. They're buying 55 gallon drums, and they just process it. They're a honey processor. That's what they are.
Right, so they don't have anything invested.
Well, I got news for you. You ever see a commercial processor? There's, I mean, all kinds of junk goes in there, but they filter it, so you don't know it. And
Right.
they have larvae go in there and pupae in there, because they don't just use honeycombs. They throw everything in there. I mean, if a queen goes above the excluded, they're going to isolate it? No, they're just going to process it and maybe scrape it off before they put it in.
I don't sell at markets, so I don't have gas invested in that. My gas comes at the end of the season when I go buy sugar syrup or swarm removals, right? Something like that. But I don't go to markets. Matter of fact, I don't even pull out to the street anymore because I don't have the honey. It'll sell too quick, and I won't have it the whole year at this point, which is a good problem. I mean, I have people stopping, and I've got enough that I pulled already to do that, and I just don't know what I'm going to get this year. It doesn't look good, to be honest with you. It doesn't look good when I look in the colonies, and they're starting to build like 3 frames in the super in the middle, which means they're starting to come up and do that. So that's a good sign, but it's they're just slow. It's slow right now for them. But
I haven't had any rain in 2.5 weeks. No rain.
We had so much rain that it knocked the blooms down and everything for a while here.
Rain. And they're still breeding nectarine somehow.
I'm gonna grab a drink, guys. I'll be right back.
So what you say you're Sharon says I'm having this. Yeah, Sharon, that's the same where I'm at. When it came to resources as far as good larvae floating in a lot of jelly, I didn't have that. I did make a cell builder. I didn't have enough of the right kind of bees and the larvae, cat brood and things like that to set it up really strong. And I did graft a week or so ago. I checked, I think it was last week on a Wednesday. I found 5 cells that had beautiful looking larvae in them. They weren't capped yet. Went in there Saturday and they were gone, tore them down, everything. Well, I looked around. I had a big old fat queen in there. I don't whether she was a virgin when I set that builder up and got in there, or whether she flew in from somewhere else and just took over. So, Doug, how's it been? I mean,
it's been hot, Charlie.
Yeah, that's what Brad and them guys talk about. But I mean, how about your highs? I mean, I'm sure you got them all set and making honey now.
We've been putting on honey supers to make room. The
That's
hives
right.
are
Your honey's just starting in it.
not yet, really. It'll be a couple of weeks before it really starts.
Mm-hmm.
Our hives are so strong that we have to make room for the bees. With this hot weather, we've got more bees outside of the supers than inside.
All right,
did you pull some splits and stuff to do that?
We've equalized. We even sold a few nukes and to make more room. But
so I got a question for you on that with the bearding you're having on the front.
Yeah.
So I have bearding on the front of one of my colonies, and they had a super that they're not even really working on a little bit, and they still had bees on the front. So I went ahead and tossed another super on it just to see if that would let the heat rise enough in the colony for them to come back in. And it looked like it did a little bit, but
do you have upper entrances on it?
I don't.
Yeah, see, we have upper entrance. So the more supers we put on, it's like a chimney. You get more airflow coming out through the top, so it
But
helps.
you're talking about bearding, Bob. All I seen was just a bunch of bees on the front porch.
I bet you if I walked out there right now, you'd see a different story.
They hanging down.
They're hanging on the front of the box. Just the whole front of the box is full of
Okay.
bees.
Yeah,
And
our temperatures have been running in Fahrenheit in the mid 90s here.
Wow.
So
That's hot.
yeah, especially when the boxes are full to start with.
and so
I'll tell you what you could do, Bob, is back. You could take a top super and bring it back just enough for bee space so the bees can go in and out.
I did that last year. I saw who was it was doing that.
I tried it too, and I wasn't impressed.
It didn't do anything that I noticed as far as the bearding, but and that's what Mark said, offset the boxes. So I've got a lot that I could go out there and do, but at the same time, this year has been pretty good as far as not having to do a lot in the bees because they've got room and they're just doing it. And I've got to the point now, Charlie, that I'm running out of bottom boards. I'm starting to have to use those Bob Binney double screen bottom boards as bottom boards on colonies. So going to have to look at next year. Hive Life might be a box and frame kind of year again to building up. But then again, it's like, what am I going to do? Am I going to keep at this amount, or am I going to try to find some land to put them on?
I'll show you my inner covers. These are my inner covers.
Vented, yeah.
And insulation for the winter.
And you can still put a feed jar right down in on top of it, right there.
Yes, you can. All my hives have this. Upper entrance. If you don't want it, you cover it. Vents here. And
More bottling equipment. That's what you want me to get, Silver Grill, and more bottling equipment. Next thing I get is a clarifier. I've got the uncapper now.
Yeah, sell your second tank. You don't need it.
Just go ahead and sell it.
Yep. Your extractor will be sitting on waiting on you with your uncapper.
Okay.
I agree.
But it has to be someone to pick it up because I'm not strapping it to a pallet and all that crap. So one of you guys near me, come buy it. It won't be a great deal, but it's better than if you bought it new. Just think, you won't have to pay shipping on it. So that's
our early setup was something like that. We had a Maxent chain uncapper. We had a 30 frame extractor sump in between. And by the time you're done uncapping, filled that uncapping tank with 30 frames, the extractor's waiting on you.
So you're sitting there drinking a cold beer, waiting on it to get finished.
Nope, you won't have time. You'll be unloading, loading, and uncapping again. All.
Well, that's the goal. If the bees would help me out and put some honey in the boxes, would be nice. And it's kind of feast or famine.
Yeah.
Some are and some aren't.
Here.
Still see you.
Lost your lights, huh? There you go.
Yeah. I don't know what happened here.
Well, if someone came and bought that the other steam uncapper that I had in the tank, I could probably just about buy that sump. I wouldn't be able to have a pump. I'd be there hand pumping it out or something. I don't know, bucketing it out. No idea how I'd get it out of there at this point.
You would need that Maxent gear pump would probably work good for the amount you're putting out.
But I wonder, what's the price on that thing? That 300 that you're talking about? Is that what it is, Maxent?
Oh.
Last time I looked, they were sold out on that. Let me see.
Yeah, well, they don't give them away. That's for sure.
Well, now, Doug, on a clarifier, how much volume of honey, I guess, you really need for that type of a thing to work properly?
It depends on the size of the clarifier. Just you know, you can get a fairly small one, 2 baffles, and it'll take a lot of the wax out. And then I
Right.
would pump into the bottling tank, and that'll take the last of the wax out.
The Maxant 24-inch that holds 12 gallons is $1,700
Woo.
for the tank with no pump, right? So
Is that a heated tank?
that is
Yeah. See, we originally had Maxent equipment to start with. It's well manufactured, but their engineering was kind of the crap. You know, we had a Maxent chain uncapper, the spinner to take the wax out, and the extractor, but they're all too low to flow into the uncap or the sump. We had to raise everything up so their equipment would work with itself.
well, their pump is $2,000, so it'd be $4,000 before shipping, or $3,700 before shipping to
Yeah.
get the smallest clarifier that they have, and it looks like the only pump that they have on there. So yeah, there's that. The Lyson clarifier is $1,700, but it holds more honey. But then if you don't have enough honey in the sump, it doesn't work correctly, right? Am I
Yeah.
understanding that properly?
Yeah, it wouldn't take a whole lot in your sump. Your clarifier or your baffles probably go down within an inch, half inch of the bottom. So once you have about an inch of honey in there, it's actually starting to clarify.
Oh, okay. So it's not.
You don't
It's
have
not
to
like-
have it.
It's not just a kind of like the top of the honey or
No,
the floating honey.
no. It's going to fill up the first compartment, but the bottom of that is going to go underneath a baffle and into another chamber. And the second chamber will do the same thing again.
So if you had 5 gallons of honey in that first chamber, it'd probably be high enough for it to run
Yeah.
under.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the it's looking like it's going to have to be the next thing.
That little Maxent gear pump will pump for years. We have a big pump that pumps into, like our big holding tank will hold, I think, 16 barrels. We use a big pump from that. But from that, if I want to fill the bottling tank, we've been using that Maxent pump. I don't know how many thousands of gallons of honey it's pumped and just keeps on chucking.
I know that I used to watch this one mid-size, sideliner, and he was uncapping, spinning the honey, going through a clarifier, and then it had what do you call it, a float, and it would turn the pump on automatically, and it just pumped up into a bottling tank, I think like what Bob's got, and would bottle it, and then the women, they were showing, I guess the wives, two different people in there where they were bottling, as all that was happening.
I haven't had the amount of honey to even warrant the equipment I've got. That's the stage that I'm at right now. It's like I've got more kit than I have honey. So that's kind of the stage that I'm at. So I'm trying to rationalize in my mind buying this equipment when I haven't had the honey to even warrant having the equipment I've got right now, So that's the thing. Dennis, I'm looking at selling the my other uncapping tank and the other steam uncapper, the tabletop steam uncapper that I have.
I would say for now, for this year, I'll say, get yourself a couple bucket strainers if you already have them. And I'm not talking about the plastic ones. I'm talking about
I've got them.
The $40 one where I think it's a 400 micron, which is the fine one. That's good enough. And what I found is most of the time, I can do 50 pounds of honey, just a little less than 5 gallons. I always like to bring it up to the bottom of the strainer. That makes it around 54 pounds, and it's about 3 to 4 inches below the lip of the bucket, and it's easier to pour, and there's no spillage issues. And and then after that, you got to take it outside and take a water hose and squirt all that wax out of there.
Well, what I end up doing is I just bring the hose right into the building, spray the inside of the extractor out, and uncap the tank, and I just drain the water into 5-gallon pails and chuck the water.
You don't need to do that.
Well, I do, because I can't get it out of my building.
No, I'm talking about as you're extracting and cleaning the honey.
Oh, yeah.
With a filter. After a bucket full, I will clean that strainer, and I'll either have a couple of strainers and just put a new bucket in, put a new strainer in, and keep on going.
Hey, you want to hear about karma? I'm going to tell you a karma story. So you guys have heard the story about the guy whose father passed away, and I went and helped him get into colonies for the first time in 2 years, and I took a bunch of stings, right? And then he asked, did I have any nukes, because he's trying to expand his operation. And I quoted him the price on the nukes and had him ready to go, and he decided he was going to drive an hour and a half to get nukes that were cheaper than mine. And I saw him post up on the Book of Faces today, hey, are any of you guys allergic to bees? So he's gotten stung, allergic reaction now, and now he might even have to be getting out of bees. So I might be able to get some cheap bees coming up here. Coming up soon. But that's karma to me, because I helped you out, and then you went somewhere else to buy your bees, and now you might have to get rid of all of them. So that's sometimes stuff comes back around, unfortunately.
Under our old Maxent system, you can see it on YouTube if you go to Longman Acres. But that clarifier did a good enough job. We just pumped right from it into the barrels we were shipping. So that, it works pretty good.
The clarifier is not the issues. They want so much for these pumps. These pumps are like outrageous.
Well, that clarifier to me is outrageous. Of course, it is water jacketed, and I guess it does come with a heater and everything.
Well, the Maxant one does. The Lyson one is heated. I don't think it's water jacketed though. It's like my bottling tank that I got. So, don't know. I mean, I could do the same thing with the, people are like, just put it in the buckets, let it set, then skim off the wax, put it in a cloth, let it drain, drain out. And that's the that's the goal. I just
seen another guy was on a video, and he had the Maxant chain and capper where you go up and down like that with to uncap it, and then he had an extractor, and then I guess under the chain uncapper you have a tub under there because it catches all that honey and the wax. To me, I would think you would have some type of uncapping tank where you'd have a 2-stage thing. But the way he had it, he had the paint strainers, and he would wrap them up and tie them with a string. And he had this homemade winch system where he winched it up and let it hang there and then drip and all that. To me, that's like, man, how long is it going to take for that to drip clean?
You got to get a wine press.
Yeah.
The Maxent uncapper we had.
Well, you know what he did? Yeah, that's right. He did have one of them press things.
Yeah, I saw that one too, Charlie.
To me, all that was inefficient.
Yeah, the Maxent uncapper we had, a chain uncapper, it sat on top of a spinner. Honey and cappings all fell into the spinner.
Oh, you had the big spinner, that wax and capping spinner. Yeah. Okay.
And then we would separate the wax from the honey in the cappings there.
The
But
problem with that spinner is, from what I can see, it's not like a Cooks and Beal where you're shaving that wax off. You got to
Yeah.
stop that thing, and then you got to dig all that stuff out around the darn thing, and then pull it out of there.
Yeah,
I'm like, man,
we could run pretty well the whole day before we would have to clean it. But we lined the inside of the spinner with a fine screen too.
yeah, I've
So
seen that
it
Max
pulled
Ant
out.
come on.
Yeah. But the chain uncapper puts a lot of wax in your honey, eh?
It does, because you're chewing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The new system is much better now.
I wonder what's a fair thing if I started renting out my honey extraction facility there for people to come and use that don't have the equipment. Hey, just bring your boxes over in the back of your truck.
Usually, what is it? Instructions. Last time I heard, it was like $1 a frame.
Is it really?
Oh, there's a minimum price, then $1 a frame.
Huh?
There's a basis price, say $10, then $1 a frame.
Okay,
So
I don't know. I mean, that's been years ago. I'm sure it's more than that now.
You gotta worry about disease. You don't want them to bring disease into your yard.
Right. I was just thinking that if, they pull their honey off, they bring their supers over, I extract them out, put them in their pails and give it back to them. And that way, instead of them bringing, spending 2 or 3 days, we knock it out in one day, give them all their honey back, give them their boxes back.
Well, that's where you take a percentage of their honey plus so much money.
Yeah.
And all the wax, right, from the capping stays.
Oh yeah.
So Amish charge $2 a gallon to extract, Mad Mort said.
That's not bad.
So that's
I
$5
can remember when I'm going to say 5 or 6 years ago, I think
$10 a bucket.
Charging $1 a frame, and I'm like, hell, that ain't worth no dime. It's worth more than $1 a frame to me.
Well,
in your situation where you can do it fast, that's one thing. But when you got to do it with let's say a hand plane or a hot knife, it's too long.
Well, think about it. If you're new and you got 10 colonies, let's say, and you've got a hand crank extractor and you've got a hot knife or something, maybe not even a hot knife at that point, it would not be it would be a quick way to, 10, 20 boxes, knock them out real quick, and same day come back later on in the day and pick up your honey in your boxes. Wouldn't be bad. And then my bees get to eat all their leftovers. So
Doug, what do you have now? Are you still using the Maxan uncapping situation?
No, we have a Cowan 60 frame.
Okay, you're high tech.
Yeah, it's air too. So
I could even charge them to bottle their honey up. Just sell them the bottles, bottle it up with the bottling tank. Come back Tuesday, all your honey will be bottled.
And they'll say, that's all I got?
Yeah, you got taxed. The tax man came. Well, you tell them, hey, you got this. There's loss along the ways, right? I notice even when I extract it out, there's honey that gets left that you can't get it all out of the bucket, unless you let it sit there for a long time. But
there's a percentage, yeah.
You lose a
it's
little
just
bit.
It's just like I take my wax cappings, I let them sit there in my uncapping tank, and they'll drain, and you'll get a very good amount of honey out of it, but they'll be kind of sticky. The cappings were. I'll take them, put them out in a solar wax melter, and have a thing there with a little bit of water in there, and then of course the wax melts in there. And there is you can see a kind of a murky skim of honey in that water.
Right.
Now, I used to just throw it in the grass, and then I had this. It was a candy board, is what it was. It had about a 3-inch lip, and I poured that water with that honey into that. It would hold it, and it was on an angle so the bees could land up here and kind of walk towards the water, not have to get drowned. Shoot, afternoon, that stuff was gone, man. They loved it. It was back in the hive.
That honey water.
Yeah.
Beeswax is worth more than honey.
Bob, you smoking again?
Not as much. Not nowhere near where I was. What I was doing.
All right, keep it low. Keep it low.
I'm trying to
What
keep.
now, Doug? You said the wax is worth more than the honey.
More per pound than honey. I can sell wax cappings here for we melt it out. I get $10 a pound for
wax.
beeswax melted out.
Who's buying the wax cappings?
We have a couple of places in Manitoba that buy it. But a lot of it we just market locally. People know we have it. In winter we make candles and sell at some of the smaller markets and stuff too.
Right.
That would be yeah. See,
I've sold. I think I sold. I don't
hamster
know.
wheel going.
I've sold about $100 worth of wax cappings here in a while. One guy was trying to make some kind of products or something, real out of real wax.
I got a lady that makes soap bars out of it. Honey. I know it's got honey in the soap, so she buys a lot of honey from me. And she asked me, did I have wax? But I don't have extra wax like that to where I need it right for my frames and foundation right now. I don't have surplus. So it'd be a good idea. And, I don't know. I don't know how that would go because most people, I think they find that's fun for them, right? Being able to extract their honey out and get the little harvest and all. It was fun for me. At first, till you do hundreds of frames, then it's a little bit more challenging. But
we have people that buy the wax. They make wax wrappings for food in the fridge. Cowboys, we have them buy it. They wax their rope they use in the rodeos.
About cheese plant, don't they put cheese, like they put wax on cheese? I wonder if they would use beeswax for that.
Well, that's what these wax wraps are like. It's a cloth soaked in beeswax, and they use it for wraps, cheese, and stuff. Yeah, in your fridge, you can wash the wrap and use it again.
Yeah, Lloyd's wife does that wrapping thing, but I kind of look at it. You have to educate people. They don't have no, it's a foreign idea.
You're right. Yeah.
Let's see. 2,000 bucks
For a clarifier.
That's just the pump. The
thing of it is, Max Ant and them guys, they don't make them pumps. They buy them pumps.
Well, I mean, it's just a belt-driven pump.
Well, it's got to be what, bronze gearing.
Yeah, it's 1-inch bronze geared pump. But it has to be geared fairly slow. It goes through 2 sets of pulleys to gear the speed of it down.
So that's the you can't, if you do it too fast, it introduces too much air to the honey, right?
Yeah, the honey's too thick. It would lose prime probably.
Their horizontal cappings auger, $4,800.
Cappings press.
Yeah, the little auger that you put, I guess from your uncapper would fall into that, and then kind of like the line. And
I don't think that works too well. I'm not sure.
They use it for augering into the wax spinner from the sump. Those guys that uncap, they dump cappings, wax, and everything into the sump, and then they use the auger to go into the spinner, and that does their separating and clarifying for them.
So I guess that's the other thing. Just doing a wax spinner would do the same thing, right, as the sump? Well, no, not really.
No.
A wax spinner will spin you're trying to get a little bit of, I guess, really the wax is kind of loaded with wax in it, or with honey in it.
Hey, hey, Anjan. She's from Vivor. Good to see you. She's the one that hooked me up with the hive and the extractor that I did the review on, and then gave the extractor away. So, hey, Anjan, when you're ready to do something else, let me know. You got my email, and we will put it out there. And
how many people you got on tonight?
45 right now, which isn't bad for almost 11 at night. And
it was a surprise that you came on tonight. I didn't know you were coming on.
I was planning not to be honest with you. And then I sent Todd a photo of the honey house, right? And he said, "Oh, I was thinking you were going to go live tonight." I said, "Well, I could." And then Stuffy called me, and I got on the phone call with him. And so we just, decided to go live and just hang out, see what everybody was doing. I'm trying to not do lives as much. It's kind of addicting. Like when you chat with your buddies and hang out, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, the only way we really do that is if we go live. And then, because honestly, and Charlie, you and I have talked about this, we have good conversations on Thursday nights. And then we come to Friday nights to the show, and everything we could have talked about on Friday night, now we've talked about on Thursday night, right? So it's like now we're trying to come up with new topics to talk about. How you like this shirt? Be keeping it real. I'll be keeping. I like that shirt too.
Where'd you get that at, Steve?
I had a couple.
Oh, look at that! Hey, look. Anyone want to try our honey extractor? I actually I did a giveaway on the extractor when I did the review, Anjan, and one of our viewers actually won that one, and I shipped it to him. So
is that the one that didn't need one?
No, this was someone else won that other one. So if you got another one, send it to me, and we'll do another giveaway on it. And we'll get it to somebody that can use it. So, hey, you done asked the wrong question, Anjan. People wanting to try your extractor. You're gonna have about 50 people saying, "Yes, heck yeah, I want to try your extractor."
But I want to try their incubator.
Oh, Vivor's incubator?
Yeah, I'd like to try that.
I need an incubator like James has, that like reptile.
That's what he got.
Oh, is that where you got it from?
And it's you plug it into your car or plug it into the house.
Well, which is funny because he's got the little incubator's toolbox like I do.
The thing he's got, that red one, that's a reptile incubator.
Right.
Yes, that's correct.
And so let me see. Eugene said, "I sure could use an electric one. I've been hand cranking." Yeah, and people are giving me crap because, Doug, did you see the uncapper that I got there?
Yeah.
So the blades are steam heated and they move, but I've got to feed the frames in with the hand crank.
Yeah, it'll work all right. You'll put through quite a few frames.
But it wasn't, for $2,000 more to get the motor that motorized fed them in. For me, it wasn't worth that to me. Mm-hmm. So at least not at this point. The other thing about the $2,000 that I didn't know till after I ordered mine was there's the that one has a second set of blades. So after it cuts the cappings off, you've seen those Simple Harmony uncappers that have the
Slicer.
the slicer on them.
Yeah.
So after you've uncapped it, anything that's not like the frame wasn't fat enough and didn't get cut off, that there was that it'll slice those open for you, so you don't have to use any tool on them.
Yeah, that would be handy. We have to scratch the thin frames coming out of the Cowan.
With the Cowan, don't it come out and you still have to scratch them?
Yeah,
You have to look. You have to look them over.
Yeah, for sure. Your
Now,
knife,
does those knives just take the cappings off if you set them that way? What I'm saying is if you got fat comb, does it slice it back to the frame and then the bees have to draw it back out the next year?
yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the knives on yours, Bob, are they electric or steam?
Electric. Well, they're
Really?
steam heated,
Oh,
but
you have
it has electric motor that.
But there's a boiler with it then.
Well, it's a wallpaper steamer, basically
Yeah.
the same thing. So if it breaks, it's $75 to get a new one from the local box store, right? And what, did I miss something? Oh, hey, I'm sorry to hear that, Keith. His son-in-law was in a motorcycle accident, and he's in ICU. So, hate to hear that. People don't watch out for motorcycles that much when they're riding down the road. But so yeah, I was just trying to take advantage of having a couple extra days off here to try to get things tightened up around here, and figuring out. And the other thing, Charlie, with those pallets that I've got in there in that corner, that I'm moving some of my equipment, my boxes, from outside to inside, so they're not in the weather, right? Unless they're on the colony, so that should help.
Yeah.
And
What I was getting at is that with a clean room, like you're going to have to kind of like, well, this, if we put it here, put the uncapper here, we could put the extractor here. Is that going to work good for me? Or is it going to flow?
Right.
It's like Doug said, I think you're going to find you might as well get rid of that original uncapping tank and slicer dicer and just go with what you got.
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening while you all were talking while I was in the other room where, by the time you're on you're either loading the extractor, spinning the extractor, and then you're over here uncapping. You really don't have a time to be, transferring frames around. It'll come together.
He's going to be running with pails too.
Right.
Yeah. For now.
So,
well, it's like what's Carter or something like that. What's his name in Alabama?
Yeah, that's the one that I was talking about with the offset boxes, right?
No,
Carter Hill
or Carter Country or something like that. Well, anyway, he's got
Keith. I can get him for sure.
Randall Carter, that's his name. He showed his video of his honey, or his honey house where
I don't understand his process though, because he lets those colonies get super, super tall. Why would you do that to yourself? Why wouldn't you pull some of that honey off and keep your stack?
I didn't really see all that. What I was looking at was first he had, I don't know what he had for uncap. I think he had one of them darn harmony frame things. And then he got to the point where he was doing buckets. And then he found, I think, a used clarifier. And he had a Maxant, I'll say 20 or 30 frame extractor. And then, let's see, how was it? He had a clarifier after the extractor. Then he bought himself a pump. And then he had went from 5-gallon buckets to 50 5-gallon drums, honey drums, and all. But he also had a hot house too, where he was bringing in the frames heated.
I got,
You know
I got a picture from Ian Stepler today.
what he's sent you.
Check this out. And this is kind of different. It looks like, you know, when you get soup from the Chinese restaurant, the takeout place, they give it to you in those little clear plastic soup bowls. You know what I'm talking about, right? Look at the packages. It looks like that's exactly what they have in there for feed. Those little Chinese deals.
Yeah, I've seen them down at Mount Vernon, Virginia, or Georgia.
That center aisle is 42 or 40 packages right there in the middle, and then that's probably, I'll say it's at least probably 100 packages sitting there.
Yeah, well, those white boxes, I've seen them in person, and that clear thing, it's a gel. And Man Lake had them last year because that's where they were going. These boxes from down in Georgia, going to Man Lake. Actually, I've got a picture of them, and they had problems with that gel. That gel would fall out or something or another, and they killed a bunch of bees over that. You know, it wasn't quite as
sturdy as they thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it wasn't going to be as good as they thought it was going to be.
Well, evidently it's good enough for them to use. You think they could just drill a couple, like a hole or two in the bottom of that thing, and it would work. And, you know, unless it's jostled around too much, and keep a vacuum on there. But yeah, he sent me that photo. I sent him a picture of the honey room. I said, it's no Stepler Farms, but I'm working on it. And he just, he sent me this back. So that must have been what they were working on today.
That's
so
the second batch, huh?
What's that?
That's his second batch of nukes he got.
Yeah, I guess so. Or packages. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yes.
It just surprised me that, well, not really. I know he had losses, so I'm sure packages are cheaper than nukes up in Canada, and he's got drawn comb, so that's not an issue. So I guess that would be the best way to go if you were doing it in his situation to rebuild his population.
He spent a ton of money.
Ton of money.
I think the first set was $45,000 he spent.
45,000 more than that, you think?
First set.
That's the first one.
That's the first one, correct?
I think it's well over 100,000.
For $2.90 a pound for honey, $2.90 he gets.
But you know how many pounds of honey he gets?
Probably does about 100 tons.
If he's
It's
got
like 3 or 4 tractor and trailer loads, isn't it?
Well, let's do the bee math on this. I got my calculator right here. Let's say he's got 1,500 hives, and you guys average what, 150, 200 pounds per colony, Doug?
No, I figure if we don't get 300, we're missing out.
Oh my God.
Okay, so let's say let's go 250 just to average a little bit. That's 375,000 pounds of honey. That's $1 million in honey at $3 a pound. I mean, if we had that here in the States, that's 3 points. Well, here, if I could sell it all at retail, which I couldn't, but if I could, 3.7 million in honey.
We're not a big operation, and this year we hope to produce about 100,000 pounds.
So a couple years ago, Todd said he made 300,000 pounds over there. That's
And you got what? Is it 600 hives, Doug?
We got in between 300 and 400 hives. I don't know just how many. It
Right. Changes.
Yeah, but in that range. And like 300 is a pretty good average for us.
That's
But
crazy.
we're right in the middle of canola fields, and we don't have any other beekeepers. Probably.
And what do you do? Belong to Honey Maid or whatever it's called?
Be made.
Bee
Yeah,
Maid.
we'll ship semi loads to be made, and but we market a lot. Like we're government inspected, so we sell a lot to stores and stuff like that.
Now, I thought that if you were with Be Made, it was like an all or none thing. You had to send them. You had to give them all your honey. Is that not
No.
the case?
No, we can sell some. If Be Made want to come and take it all, fine. But then they can start paying what we're making on the market here too.
I thought the canola honey crystallized like at a blink of an eye.
It's pretty quick. Yeah.
I mean, even after you extract it, I mean, how do you keep it from crystallizing, let's say, in the jar? Or do you just sell a lot of creamed honey?
Well, we'll keep our bottling tank at about 90 degrees if we're bottling liquid, but most of it goes creamed.
Is that right? A lot of
Yeah.
cream.
We try to get it into the barrels because it's a real light, clear honey. It's your best price of honey. So they take it.
Is it lighter than that?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's almost clear like water almost. The canola honey.
Let me see. So you guys are saying a flat rate, if you were doing extraction for somebody, a flat rate of like $10 and then $1 a frame? Or is it $10 a box and then $1 a frame? It's like $20 a box.
I don't remember. I never did it.
I wouldn't do it. It gets to be a lot of work.
Well, it's another way to pay for the equipment.
You're in catch-22.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can say that knock on wood, luckily, I've been blessed enough this year that I haven't had to dig into my own pocket to really pay for stuff. So that's a good thing. But I'm just getting to the point to when I keep saying, well, next year, and when's next year going to be the good year? When is next year the one that's going to pay for this? Does it ever come, Doug? Or do you always say that? Well, we'll get this machine next year's honey. I'll help offset it and then pay it. Does it ever happen?
I guess that's farming next year.
Yep. That's the.
Well, I think like for me, I mean, I've reinvested my money into equipment, but over a long period of time. And I'll say this year, I've pretty much got everything that I feel that I need at my level. And, yeah, I mean, you always have, I mean, over the years, I've always averaged like $4,000 to $5,000 input cost. But a lot of that was like, okay, well, this year I bought an extractor, or this year I bought a bottling tank, or this year I bought, I don't know, uncapping tank or something like that. And, they were pricey expenses. Or like last year, I bought 20, it was about this time last year, and I thought I needed more. I was running out of supers, and I bought 20 supers. Well, I don't know what it was. I think at $400, let's say, at the time. That's another expense. Or I was buying nuke boxes. I went from mediums to deeps because I had the sales was changing to where people wanted deeps. So I was buying woodenware and things. And now I've kind of leveled off on a lot of those types of things. Eugene has a lifter. What kind you got, Eugene? You got the one from Boris, the Model A or the Model B? That would be the only thing that I would possibly buy as a lifter. Last year was a bottling tank. So,
I-
you know, and
I just-
that's been wonderful. I love it.
I just made a post on the South Carolina beekeepers group that said, would anybody be in need of extraction services? I have a pretty good setup and could extract other people's honey pretty fast, just to see if it gets any hits or not.
You better check the price you're going to charge.
Well, that's the beauty. I don't have to give a price until somebody's actually interested in having it done. I can think about it. How much is it? How long will it take? You know,
It's not so much they're going to say price. That's the first thing they're going to do.
and I'll comment back. Well, how much do you need extracted? You know,
You might want to, you might want to have
work something out.
The honey to be.
What's that?
How clear you want the honey to be.
Right.
Get the
Well,
wax.
what I'm getting at is, you know, how many boxes you got? You got a 30 frame extractor there. So minimum 3 10 frame boxes. You
Mark
wanna-
says I can do his. You have to trek it down here, man. Bring it on down. We'll sit. I wouldn't even charge you, Mark. Just bring some queens with you. We'll work it out.
Yeah, that's right, Eugene.
You're
Charlie,
hand bombing all of your
Pull the trigger. What'd you say, Doug?
you're hand bombing all of your supers when you're handling them
Me or
all by hand.
Yeah, I
Charlie.
do. Yeah, Charlie too.
That's the worst part of it. That's the part the guy needs to get mechanized.
Yeah, I've been thinking about buying Boris's that their level, the B one, you know, like James has, is kind of like a front end loader type of thing, you know, that lifts up the boxes. And
Yeah.
something like that I would like to try. And there's nobody, you know, there's like one guy I had that had the dolly style, and he bought it, I'm going to say American made, but he didn't buy with the electric lifting winch on it. And he found out that was a huge mistake. And then the guy who was designing it, it didn't have the wheels. They just weren't big enough in diameter about like rolling over rough terrain. You know, they had too small dinky wheels, which are just not that, it's not ergonomically good for that kind of a thing.
We had one, and I can't say we were real pleased with it. It had the big wheels. We used to use it mainly for lifting the honey supers so we could put the excluder on.
Yeah. Now, did you have a dolly type system or
Yeah,
or the other style that Boris had, where it's like you have to raise it up, kind of up on an angle like a front end loader in order for it to sit down on itself?
Yeah, no, this was kind of the dolly. It had the electric winch on it, would lift it up.
Right.
But then another problem we were having, the winch wouldn't hold the weight of the honey supers. Like when it come time to lift, we might have 3 or 4 honey supers on. It would lift them, but wouldn't hold. They would keep creeping back down on you. So,
Yeah, I think I seen Brad that way, where he's had the one that's a dolly style system, and his will leak down
yeah.
and all.
And you had to have pretty good level ground for it to work decent too.
Yeah.
You know, I thought about it, Charlie, as far as workflow. You know, I've got a door on both sides of my honey house, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody wanted extraction services, they would drop boxes off on the one side, back their truck on the other side, and as soon as they're extracted and put back in the box, you just take it out the other side and load it back in their pickup truck, straight from one side to the other.
Yeah. As long as they can, you know, get to those doors with a truck or whatever.
Oh yeah, we'll make that happen.
Well, now, Doug, was that Boris's lifter that was leaking down like Brad's? That's what Brad had, was one of Boris's.
Yeah. Ours was the same as Brad's. Fellow by Winnipeg made them. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess he hasn't changed an issue with that, I guess, at all. Now, see, the other style is See, I kind of like the idea of the hand truck where you can just kind of go in. You go in and you jack it up, and then you roll it back, and you kind of lean back on itself, and it'll stay there, or at least it should stay there.
Yeah.
And then James has got the one where you roll it around, and it has a set of forks on it, can raise up a two, like a Ian Stepler two hive pallet,
Yeah.
and he can move the pallet with the two hives on it. Not with the honey supers. Now your honey supers are deep, some most likely, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty heavy. So so mine would be more of the medium style, like the one. Well, that's my highs behind me there.
Yeah.
They're a little bit taller than what they are right there. Some of them are 2, 4, 5, 6. There's like that yellow in there. It's probably a couple more boxes above that. But that's what I was kind of considering, and I don't know. Maybe have a men. I got one guy who needs extraction, and I told him, yeah, as long as you come over and help me set up my extraction thing in my back porch and help me harvest my boxes, like 6 or 8 of them at a time. That way I can get them done without any wax moth problems or beetle problems.
Yeah, we used to hire a couple of young guys used to work for us. And one of them, he could take the place of a forklift, but we no longer have him.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So Keith asked, what's the chances of importing diseases like that when you're in the honey super, extracting other people's honey? What do you think?
It's there. It could happen.
So that's the what kind of diseases could you catch? I mean, everything in the honey super? Thought most of that's in the brood box, but I guess it could be in the wax or whatever.
Depends on what they send you. They're not, what you think is acceptable. They might say, oh, no, we go ahead and put brood frames. I've had that question here. Well, do you use brood frames in a honey super? And I'm like, no, I try not to.
Right. But
I try to have my honey supers as my honey supers and my brood boxes as my brood. Because if you put honey in brood, yeah, they'll cap it, but it's a booger trying to uncap that stuff. And all. So anyway, it's getting late. I think I'm going to bug out.
Bugging out.
Mm-hmm.
What are you, old or something? Got to go to bed?
That's right. Another day tomorrow.
I think I slept till like 10 o'clock today. I felt
nice.
refreshed.
Yeah, we got
My
another.
jaw was hurting when I woke up. But
yeah, I took in. What did I do today?
bleach clean between extraction. You know what we used to use? We just used to use in the lab when we were doing in between cleanups. We would just use isopropyl alcohol, spray everything down, let it evaporate, and it would kill everything in there. Obviously, it'd have to be clean, but
Yeah, Todd, I'll see you tomorrow. But now I don't know. Let's see, what did I do? I took a load of firewood today. I did that. Oh, I went up and got my honey bottles. 3 cases of those. So, but
it'll be interesting. I'm just curious to see if anybody even responds to that post. It got a thumbs up already.
I would say at least $2 a frame.
$20 a box?
Yep. I mean, the last time I talked to the one gal who were doing it for $1, that had to be at least 6 years ago. I mean, everything else has went up.
So that means that'd be $20 a box, 10 boxes, $200. But they don't have to worry about cleanup. They don't have to worry about anything. Just bringing the stuff over.
No, you're the one that spent $8,000 or $10,000 in equipment. You know, you're the one that's buying the electricity, the labor, and all that.
Right.
You know, it's just like they come in here and they want me to, you know, as I say, they'll come in. I'm going to build a tabletop. I says, you are. You know, let's say they'll start out with. I says, well, got a table saw? No. Got a joiner? Well, what's that?
Right.
You know, and I'm like, okay, I know where you're at. And I said, well, how are you going to get the boards flat and plain smooth and the edges jointed square? Well, aren't you going to do all that? And I said, sure, $200 an hour. You know, and most of them, you know, they don't complain. But not really, I guess.
Well, I don't know. I've seen capped honey. Lee said he had some capped honey. It was like 19% last year. So
seems like this year, being the fact that it hasn't rained a lot and the humidity is low, which is, I think, a big factor, that it's been really low. It's been a little bit too low because it's hard to get out of the.
it's 2,500 miles away. It's just a thought, man. I don't know if anybody. The only reason I even came up with that is because there's a guy, the guy that provides the nukes for like Blythewood Bee Company here. So when you buy nukes, you're buying them from this guy. You just don't know it, right? And he has like some crappy extractors, but he just gets college kids to extract all his honey out. And he says that, you know, it doesn't so it doesn't cost him that much, but he's like, man, it'd be better for me to just load it on my truck and bring them over to you and let you extract them out. Well, if he's watching that chat, maybe he'll get that same idea this year. And hey, drop them off and I'll extract them out and you can come pick them back up.
Cope did it at 16.5. That's perfect. 16.5%.
That's usually when mine's capped. That's usually about where it's at, 16.5.
You have bee clubs there that have their own, like rent an extractor out to the members?
Yeah, my club that I chair, we actually have two of them. Two extractors that are hand cranked, plus uncapping tanks, plus the knives, plus the sieves. And we don't rent it out to our members. That's sort of a perk for being a member.
Okay. But you also don't necessarily have control of when you can extract your honey either, right?
Well, they have so many days to get it done, and and then they gotta turn it in.
But if Joe has it on Saturday and that's the only day you can extract, but Joe's already got it claimed, then you're screwed. You have to wait.
Yeah, that's one of the problems. And I think a lot of our members who are, I'll say, serious beekeepers, the ones that I know of that, usually they have 20 or 30 hives. They're the ones who have their own equipment. The ones that have 2 hives or just getting into it, they're the ones that are getting the the use of the in-house extractor. We also have refractometers they can borrow and all that stuff.
Vivor just gave a code to the viewers that need an extractor for 6% off. So I don't think that she can post it. YouTube won't let her. She'll have to send it to me and I'll have to post it. So if anybody needs a extractor, they can post it up in there and use the code. Get you some Vivor on the extractors. The extractor was pretty nice. I mean, and they worked with Philip on his when his came a little damaged, so they gave him some money off.
Was that a paid extractor or a powered extractor?
Mm-hmm. Yep. You know, I'm not really the manual kind of guy. When and I told even Stuffy's like, you know, with his time, he's like, we were talking about building boxes against buying boxes, and he said he's convinced himself that he can buy boxes just as cheap as he can build them, because his time means something to him. You know, when he's on the road and he comes home, he's got, you know, only a little bit of time, so it ends up being cheaper for him just to build or just to buy them.
Well, my question is, by the time you buy the lumber, and then you got to have the tooling to cut it up and whatever else. Now, the one guy that's my mentor, he is a carpenter. He has the tooling, and he built, I don't know, 8 boxes. He did a very good job. And, you know, he did it for, you know, yes, he did it cheaper, but it took him 4 hours in the afternoon to get all that done. So I'll say it took him 2 boxes per hour.
Well, I mean, if your time's worth $25 an hour, just tack $100 on everything, right? I don't know. Everybody's got their own rate. Some people just like to do it, and that's fine, you know. But for me,
I've got good woodworking equipment, and we buy our boxes.
I just saw online, the guy charges 20% of the honey plus the wax.
20% of the honey. No, so he doesn't charge them a dollar amount. It's just 20% of the honey and the wax.
The wax.
Well, that's not bad, because they get 100 pounds. You're getting 20 pounds. That's $200 worth of honey.
There she is again, Bob.
What? Sure. No
And
problem.
yeah, I guess she's gonna email you or something.
Yeah, I'm sitting right here waiting on the email right now. So as soon as it comes across, I'll post the link or whatever in there, and people can go get it.
Todd, they ain't going back down. Nothing's going back down. It's never going back down.
Now they realize they can make X number of dollars on it, right?
Well, it's just like everything. Everything is up. I mean, you know, the price of your extractors and all the equipment we've been talking about is higher than what it was a year ago. My tank, I got that 25-gallon bottling tank. Oh, now it used to be, I think it was $1,800 or something like that. Now it's over $2,000 for that same tank. So the steels went up. You know, people want more money. It's just one thing after another after another.
So even if I sold that uncapper, the other uncapper in the tank, for what it's selling for today, I'm still losing about $500 in shipping, at least. At least $500. I have to look back at the invoice, see what the actual.
See what I'm talking about. When the first purchase is always the cheapest.
Yep. But see, I could use it, but the you know, again, who to thunk it, right? I mean, that's the whole thing. Steve and I were talking at the beginning. Steve said when he started, he thought he would have 5 hives, and that's where he wanted. But then, you know, they expand. You buy more boxes. Next thing you got 50. Oh, well, they're going to expand. Next thing you got 100, and then you're sitting over here like Doug, 300. You know, and then you got the $60,000 or $120,000 extraction line, and the, you know, you have to buy a building to put the equipment in to house everything.
And then you got that new lifting rig on your truck installed and up and running now.
Yeah, and now our truck's in the garage.
Uh-huh.
So it's and now
so that extraction tank that you were going to sell, how long is that in feet?
It's 1,500 millimeters. So I think that's like 5 feet, around 5 feet. 1,500 millimeters to feet. 4.92 feet. So 5 foot. and I know the uncapper fits on it because that's how I bought it. So it's yeah, 5 foot long. So the one that I got now is also 5 foot long. So it'll hold 40 frames without the uncapper on it. The uncapper, that tabletop uncapper, does take up a lot of the space. Matter of fact, in that picture, I've used that uncapper one time, literally, and the tank, I've used it for a year, but pretty much just to hang frames in. It's brand new. Comes with a lid on top.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think Lyson, and I don't see it on Better Bee site, but Lyson makes a heated top to put on that. So, and you can put the heated cover on it, and it'll heat the honey inside of there to help it flow better in the frames. 23 32nd plywood for $8. 1 out of 10 have warped a little over 3 years. Four feet, 11.04 inches.
5 foot.
There you go. So 12 feet. I mean, 5 feet. Might as well just say. Pretty close. Let's see. Private jet.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get out. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
All right, Charlie. We'll see you later.
You can't, Charlie.
All right. We'll see you.
$40 minimum covers the first 20 medium or shallow frames. $1.50 additional frame over 20. $3 per deep frame. And then you had another one that does just a percentage of the honey and wax.
Yes. The one I just sent you is from 2019. The one you're reading.
That's good to know information. And you know, like I said, oh, hold on. We've got the link here. Let me copy the link. Gonna put the link in here, and then after the link, I'm gonna put the code to save 6% off of a Vivor extractor. There we go. Compliments of Vivor. They stopped by the show tonight.
I'm off to bed. We'll see you another night.
All right, Doug. Have a good night. We'll see you later. Thanks for stopping in. Then we're back to the old war horses here. So you're heading out to Vegas
Monday.
on Monday.
Be back Saturday.
When are you extracting honey? Or are you giving it some more time?
Middle of July, probably. Because first week of July, I'm going on a cruise. When I get back from the cruise.
Is the well, and that might play into your advantage too because of the later than normal flow that you're talking about.
Normally, I don't do it to August, but I want to do it earlier this year.
Really? You leave it on all the way to August?
Because I want everything capped. I don't want to, come back later. I want it capped, everything take care of.
So you don't have a dearth period, or does that go right into your fall flow?
I lose a little bit, not much, because to be honest with you, I get too much honey. I don't want to extract a lot of honey. I leave it on there. I got so many frames left over from last year. It's crazy.
So what I've been doing is I've been pulling it last week in June, first week in July, and then I let the fall flow hit, and then last year I left it on, and the year before I left it on and pulled it in the spring early to give them room. But this year I'm thinking I'm going to pull it and pull it all, and then just feed the brood box full again,
I'm going to do all this year too.
So
'Cause I still have honey supers on from last year, but I got them on the bottom now. I'm not going to touch those.
That's my thing now is that, yeah, I could, and again, because it's just me, I've been only pulling what I can extract at a time, right? So now I don't know how much I can extract at a time with the new equipment, how fast it's going to be, how interested I'm going to be to sit in there all day in the heat. But, we'll see how it goes.
When I extract for about a week, and it's like 12, 15-hour days. I'm extracting all day long. And the flow point is coming out of the extractor, getting that wax out.
I tell you what, I'm really interested, Anjan. I need you to send me at least one of your 5-gallon honey bucket warmers. I want to try that out because that is a good price that you have on it. And I want to try it and show people how it works because compared to the other companies, yours is the best price. But I don't think anybody's got that much experience using your brand there. So I would love to show that. And last time I looked, you were sold out on them. And you may not be right now, but that would be something I'd be interested in doing a review on. Let me see. Yeah, they're pretty good at little extractors there. Deal of the day: 22 acres in Virginia, multiple outbuildings for $155,000. Don't know if I want to move to Virginia, but yeah. So that's been the stuff that's been running through my head today, guys. Man, for some reason, I'm looking at the live stream, and it's showing like way behind. Oh, bourbon barrels. You need to get a Jack Daniels barrel. If you could get a Jack Daniels barrel, that would probably go over well. Then you could label Jack Daniels honey. Commercial grease trap. Does it have the baffles in it? I need to look at that. The Vivor trap there. Let's see. Vivor. I go to beekeeping supplies. Let's see. Stainless steel, 25-pound. Let's just try grease trap. They're pretty cheap. Stainless. And it pumps 13 gallons a minute. But I don't. 25 pounds, that would be 2 gallons of honey, right? Or for $126. They got grease pumps. There you go. DC motor with an impeller. I bet you could put that little pump on there. But you'd have to reduce the speed, probably. Yeah, they do have some options. I'll have to look at that. It has 3 baffles in it. Let me see. It has a water outlet, baffle for separating oil and water, and a basket for stopping solid waste. And it's designed for kitchens, so it would be food safe. And as long as it pumps, and it looks like it does pump, 13 gallons per minute. I wonder how much a honey pump does, like 4 gallons, I think, 4 gallons a minute. That'd be a good idea. And that thing's only 126 bucks. It's not bad. Might have to look at that for sure. Look a little closer.
Yeah, what would that pump do to the honey if it's going too fast?
Adds too much air to it. Basically would whip it, right? So that'd be something to check out.
You want to try?
James, how come every time I buy something it goes on sale right after I pay full price? Welcome to my world. That's how my luck is all the time. I do that too. You're not the only one, James. It happens to me as well. So yeah, that's the things I've been looking at. Let me see. But Vegas and then a cruise. Where are you cruise? Are you going to Canada, right? Cruising to Canada?
This one is going to Bahamas and stuff like that. We're going to fly to Florida and go to Bahamas and
Going out of Port Lauderdale?
yeah, Miami, I believe it is. Canada is going to be in September, which I'm a little bit upset because I'm missing the cheese festival, which I did great last year.
Well, your son's going to run that for you, right?
Well, I haven't asked him.
You better get on that. Get it going.
Well, my grandson, his son will help him because he helped me last year. The kid was great. I got to show him how to work the credit card thing. I'll tell you, people are crazy, yo. They buy $3 in honey, they'll use a credit card.
Well, is it a credit card or is it their debit card with the Visa logo on it?
No, they're mostly credit cards. Half the sales were credit cards last year. But since I raised the price, I could deal with it. Like I told you, like 3.5 hours, I sold out of 240 pounds of honey. What a surprise that was. That was crazy.
You're going to take more this year, right?
Oh, at least 400 or 500 pounds.
Where's Tim and Hannah when motorized extractors are on sale? See there? Wow, they have their 4-frame electric, $232. Not a bad deal. 8-frame, $413. Anywho, did you see that cruise ship that all the people are sick right now? Did you see that, Steve?
No, I haven't. It's probably Carnival.
Who you cruising with?
I believe this one's Norwegian. I do Norwegian and Princess.
You know, my wife used to, we used to own a travel agency. And it was all like online, right? So she would have to take the call, do it online, send email and everything back and forth. But yeah, we used to do a little bit of that. And she wanted to go on a cruise. I'm like, are you kidding me? I spent 4 years in the Navy. I did all the cruising I need to ever do. 4 years on the ship was plenty for me. Lived in a boat.
I started Navy Aviation, never on a ship.
What's that?
I was Navy Aviation. I was never on a ship.
Never on the ship at all.
Never on a ship.
We had
I was in Puerto Rico. I did take a little tour of a submarine.
you were in Rosie Roads?
Yes, I was. Rosie Rose, correct.
I've been to Roosevelt Roads probably 7 or 8 times. Matter of fact, outside the back gate, they had a club. I think it was called Charlie's or something, right outside of the gate. And man, we didn't know that the taxi stopped running from that back gate at midnight. The gate didn't close, but the cabs from the back gate into the pier stopped, and we were out there at that club.
You gotta watch out for snakes and mongooses.
We were out there drinking it up and hooping it up, and like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then had to stagger back to the ship because we didn't know that the taxi stopped running, right? So we had to walk the whole way, just inebriated, back. You think that the SPs or somebody would say, hey, let us give you a ride. No, you're walking, sailor, and we made it back to the ship right in time to muster. We're still like all hammered, it was not a good time. It was not a good time that night. But yeah, I like Puerto Rico. Let's see. All the coqui frogs.
Open air barracks.
Have you ever been to Guantanamo Bay?
No. Oh yeah. Well, in the Air Force, I flew there. I flew in and flew out. I didn't stay there.
I went to Guantanamo, and one of the things they had was a movie theater that was open air. So it just had a bunch of like concrete benches, and they would show a movie up on a screen, and you would just sit there and watch the movie outside because, in the tropical nighttime air, it was pretty nice. Of course, you couldn't go off the base, but yeah, we're still going. We're waiting on you to join. What do you think we're doing? We're taking it all in.
You ever go Rhoda?
I didn't go to Rhoda, Spain. No. My ship.
Terrajón, Spain.
Do what?
Terrajón?
No, I didn't go to Europe at all in the Navy. I went to Panama, Ecuador,
Panama,
Barbados, Bermuda, St. Thomas, Aruba. I want to say we did go to Grenada. We went to so many places in South America that it was nice though.
What kind of ship?
I was on a frigate, Knox class frigate. Oh, here he is. Is he in his onesie? That's the question of the day.
No, I'm not in a onesie tonight.
Too warm for onesies.
It's 30 degrees. We've got heat warnings up here again, and air conditioned warnings because of the fires and the smoke again. It's just we're going. It's like Groundhog Day again.
So it did flare up again then.
Oh yes. I think so.
Well, I sent you the picture of my Stepler Farms version of my honey house. I sent that picture to Ian. I said, it's no Stepler Farms, but we're getting there.
What'd he say?
He threw a thumbs up on it. He liked the picture, and then he sent me a picture of all the packages that he's got in.
Oh, did he get another 200?
Yeah, well, it's a bunch. I don't know how many, at least 100 that I could tell from the picture, but he got a bunch.
Boy, those guys are hit hard over there. I feel for them.
Well, Brad was saying the other night he was at 75% loss.
How do you
winter losses?
How do you recover from that?
Well, and okay, so I'm going to play devil's advocate here on the good side of things. So he was kind of down, with it, and he wasn't planning to get honey. And I'm saying, but James is installing nukes right now, and it's not honey flow time yet. So I'm thinking
we're about 3 weeks away, 2 to 3 weeks away.
And you're running right on schedule. Like here, everything's delayed. Steve said
No,
he's
we're
behind.
probably 3 weeks early up here. Southern Alberta, they're already harvesting their alfalfa crop for the first time, and that's 3 weeks early.
Well, I sent you a picture of the honey house. I sent you the picture of the pallet with the boxes on it. I've pretty much got all of my equipment filled, which was the goal. Not all of it is full, but close to all being filled.
Told you it wouldn't be far.
So some of my crap queens, like, and when I say my crap queens, some of the crap queens that I grafted that just aren't doing well, will probably get dispatched, and one of my strong nukes will be put in. But I did find the hot hive.
Good.
It was one of the nukes that I got that were in a 5/5. When I opened them up to put them in a 10 frame box today, they weren't having it. They did go. They went. I endured the pain, but they did.
Did you get rid of her?
No, because I don't have a queen to replace her unless I take it out of one of the nukes. So I didn't do that at that point. So it's on the list. If I can find her, I couldn't find her either. That's the other thing.
Did you find? How's that Carnolian one went there that you guys?
Okay, so the update on that one is the queen's back and it is laying.
Perfect.
So have I gone back in it since? No, but you saw everything I did in the honey house today because I was planning originally to pull honey and work that. And it's probably still going to happen over the next 2-3 days, as long as the weather plays nice. But but because I got into cleaning that building so much, which I wanted to have for obvious reasons, right? Working honey and getting it organized, that there was too much moisture in the building, I felt, to bring in honey and then start working it. And
because your honey will absorb that. So
so I just let everything dry good, and then gonna work on that. So
right on.
And figuring out what to do with the flow of my little U right there has kind of been the topic of the night.
Got her.
And I made a post in the beekeeping chat for South Carolina. Hey, I just happen to have a little bit of extracting equipment. If anybody needs extraction services.
Oh, yes.
See, if I'm not making that much honey, I got to get it from somewhere. I might as well get somebody else's for free for labor, you know, and some wax out of it. So we'll see.
Right.
See how that goes. But
I'm doing another equalization round tomorrow. So, and, Alan and I were kind of discussing a bit of a plan there tonight. So it'll be another equalization round tomorrow. But I think I have still too many damn bees. So I need to get rid of these 40 nukes, they're not even a nuke anymore. I had to transfer them to a 10 frame box because they were busting at the frame on the 6 frame boxes. So I can't even call them a nuke anymore. They're more.
So are you selling those as colonies or nukes? Because the price would be different.
So no, we kind of negotiated what they needed to be. So basically it's not really a nuke, but it's not really a colony, if I can put it that way. I've more or less guaranteed them at least 6 frames of bees, and then whatever bees and brood and stuff like that go in there. So I don't know how many 6 frame nukes you get out there that, you've seen how I make my nukes. So
right. Has become the way that I make my nukes. Go figure.
And guess what? It works very, very well. Right. So the other thing I'm doing tomorrow is I'm calling queens.
Queens.
I'm calling queens. So any queen that does not meet my expectation will be dispatched tomorrow. I have 47 new cells ready to be dropped in Sunday. So I will start culling queens and making sure that I've got the queens that I want.
So if you call the queens tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to put it in on Sunday, when will you go back in to make sure there's no other cells in there?
Well, I'll cull the queen tomorrow. I will drop the cells on Sunday. So when I go in there Sunday, I will knock down anything that's in there. So that gives us 3 days. So
No, you don't run the risk. Even if they do make queen cells, your queen cell will hatch before that, and
right. It should be 4 days. It by the timing and everything, it should be 4 days that you go back in there. So, and tomorrow I'll go through those. My starter colony, I will make sure there's no cells in there, knock all them down, and I will graft again probably tomorrow.
Do you want to sell your soon-to-be retired breeder queen? Mark says.
So,
queen.
What I found with those breeder queens, they produce, and when they stop, it's straight down. Like they go, and then when they're done, they're done. So,
please email you and send the link to the item I was talking about. I don't know if you got it still. Let me see. Why isn't it showing up on this page?
And then when I think I'll probably only do one more round of grafting. I'm only going to do one more round of grafting for queens and cells for production. I'm going to do another round of grafting after that.
Lisa said she just delivered a baby while we were chatting and came back and we were still chatting.
There you go. But the next round I graft after this is going to be for me to learn artificial insemination.
Okay. So you can make your own breeder queen off your breeder queen.
Pretty much. Yep.
You have like an F2 or an F1.
Exactly. Yep. So.
Let's see. Now I can't find the product.
What are you buying?
Well, Vivor has a 5-gallon bucket warmer, like the bee blanket.
Oh, yes.
But it's quite a bit cheaper than the bee blanket. And she said send her a link in an email and I can get one for a review. But now I can't find it. Maybe it's honey warmer. Honey. Let's put honey. See what happens. Where did you get your reptile incubator?
Amazon. Just got it Amazon. I can send you the link.
James,
actually, I really like that because it is it's 12 volt and 110 volt. So as you saw, I had it plugged in my truck the other day, right out the apron.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't take your little toolbox.
Well, I'm in the midst of modifying my little toolbox.
Oh, okay. Any extraction news updates?
For me?
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
It's just me and you here. Me, you, and Steve. Nobody else watching.
Oh, we got 33 friends.
33 friends watching right now. See, I was trying to eke it out of you. Yeah, it's sold out. Crap. Um, 5-gallon barrel warmer with gate valve for honey. Yeah, that's the one. Let me I'll copy the link though. I'll send it to you. Maybe you'll get it in. It's been sold out for a minute too. Let me see. Let me just reply to this email. But so any suggestions, James? You're usually good for some suggestions.
On what?
You saw my picture. What do you think?
A little bit envious. I wish I had something like that. I don't. Yep.
But that, I mean, even that setup with in your situation would still, it would do decent. It wouldn't do. I mean, it wouldn't be as what you need, but it would work.
More than what I got. Right.
Right. Todd says he won't say a word. Dennis says mum's the word. See, loose lips sink ships. There. We know.
So
the
let's just say I'm working on something here right now where I may not need an extraction line this year if I can pull this off.
You won't need one this year.
I may not need one this year if I can pull this off.
So what was it that old
Oh, he's gonna send the honey to you to do it.
Yeah.
He's gonna what was it that
keep in mind, I probably already have about 150 frames of honey out there, right?
What is it that he said? The Swami? Remember Jimmy or Carson used to say, right? Yeah. Carson used to say, I think he's swapping nucleus colonies for the ability to use somebody's honey house. There's nothing wrong with a good trade.
I'm
mutually beneficial.
I'm a huge fan of trade. Huge fan of trade.
Right. So that's the see, maybe Stepler Farms is sending out a trailer. Oh, speaking of which, with those colonies, did you heard anything back from the government on those 3 cells?
I haven't yet, believe it or not. I still have not heard or seen the data from the report. So now I've already called that colony. So it's already over. I've already picked it up, pulled it out of the apiary. It's over in the hospital yard. So and I am treating it already as if it is EFB. So just not taking any chances, right? So
yeah, no need. I mean, you've got plenty of like you said, you got more bees than you need. So eliminating that colony, disinfecting that colony, and then put a split in it, and you're good to go.
I am 90% sure, or 99% sure, even with these 40 colonies, I'm still 90% or better sure that I will fill every piece of equipment I got. And so
that's that was my goal for this year. Now I'm worried that if these nukes continue to grow, I won't have enough equipment for them. So today I was actually like that 5/5 was so packed that I put them in all 3 of those. I put them in 10 frames and immediately threw a super on them.
Mm-hmm.
So and some of them I didn't put mediums. I just put deeps on them to go ahead and just, I need drawn comb, right? So draw it up. And if I get some deep honey, great. I might get 4 or 8 frames out of that box, 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top. That'll be fine too. Spin it out, give it back to them, let them fill it back up.
And start all over. So I'm in the midst of quote or I've sent away and I've requested quotes now for my boxes and frames for my 2024 season.
So you don't think it'll be a Hive Life special thing this year?
Not for my boxes and frames. So I want all of my boxes and frames to be identical. So and that way they fit the extraction line to a T.
And see, that's what I'm you guys have, like, if you guys were Darth Vader, I've already shipped over to the dark side. I mean, I'm learning that. It took me a minute, but I'm learning it. So it took me 5 years to figure it out, to be exact. But now, you know, I think totally going with the all deep is the way to go. And nothing wrong if you're running all mediums or something like that. No, that's what you want to do. That's fine.
Just let it all the same.
But yeah, so like even my new uncapper, I have to readjust it if I'm using deeps or mediums.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm going to have to readjust it if I'm using plastic or wood.
Mm-hmm.
So that is going to be the thing. I think I'm just going to from now on buy deep boxes and deep frames. And there's another reason why, if you haven't noticed, medium frames cost more than deep frames do. And the boxes cost the same amount.
And you get way less.
So
out of a frame. So you're handling more frames to get the same amount of honey. And so am I driving the Hive Life in 2024? I'm not sure yet. So if I did, I wouldn't be driving there alone. Let's put it that way.
Dude, I would fly up to you guys and drive down back with you just for the shenanigans, because I know it will be crazy with you, Brad, and Ian all in the same vehicle coming down. I would probably laugh the whole way.
I don't know whether Ian's in on that. Brad and I have talked about it a whole bunch, but I haven't had a chance to see if he's talked to Ian about that. But I think that that would be a very interesting trip. That would be the conversation alone. I think on that trip would be worth the gas money.
You would get a Hive Life conference before the Hive Life conference. You guys would talk about everything. You'd be like, why are we even going? We could just get together and hang out and do this.
We might get banned as we cross through one state to the next. It's like, don't let those guys back.
But now I'm sitting here thinking, this year was, barring a total crop failure, which it appears I'm having this year, I've set myself up, I feel, if I don't have real high winter losses this year, that you figure if I have 50 or 60 colonies, I'm figuring if I have 60 going into winter, if 50 make it through, if I lose 10, then that's 50 nukes in the spring. So that immediately is $10,000 if I sell 50 nukes, right? Changes the ball game a little bit to start out, get things rolling.
Yeah.
As compared to having 12 and selling 12 nukes, then yeah, it's money, but it's not 10 grand. Right. You know, and you can make a little bit different decisions. And if they're real strong, then you can make more than one split off of them.
Right.
You know, like you do.
I think your limiting factor down there right now, Bob, is your location and the number of hives you have in the location. I would not be surprised if your honey crop is just slightly larger than what you got last year, with the same number or with all of the bees that you currently have. You know, when I was down there, that's one of the things, like I said, I kind of drove around a little bit. Geographically, you are limited with what resources your bees have at your location. I really think you need to look at an outyard.
Well, and that's one of the things I have been pondering, trying to get a piece of property, even if it's an acre, but then it's got to be an acre that's like somewhere not in a neighborhood, that's out in the woods, that it's already cleared, or something. It's just trying to find a place to put them.
That's where it's so much different up here where we are compared to where you are. I mean, if I decided I wanted to have my apiaries placed every 3 miles, So from where my apiary currently is, I could hit the road and I could drive 3 miles in any direction, and it's solid farmers' fields anywhere in any direction I go. And the canola fields and the alfalfa and the clover fields and stuff like that. I mean, we're really sitting very, very well up here for a honey crop compared to yourself down there. I mean, the population just in your area is huge. Where, like I said, I literally, my apiary right now is 12 minutes from my house. It is, let me count this. It'll be 1, 2, 3. It's about, I'm probably about 8 blocks, maybe 10 blocks from the edge of the city to where the first farmer field starts. And then it's probably 5 miles of nothing but open fields, farmland before I get to my apiary.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's always something. It's always something.
And you know what? It doesn't matter whether it's beekeeping or business of any nature. You overcome one hurdle just to be presented with another one, and that's just the way it is. So like I said, I'm looking at ordering boxes. I'm looking at ordering frames. I'm trying to understand how many more pallets I am going to build. And of course, I mean, Alan, as you guys see, Alan helps me out a whole bunch. So
right.
we're now trying to decide, okay, does he come in and do we make a partnership of this? And do we shift gears, grab a gear, and stomp on the gas? So we're just trying to figure out as to which way we're going to go and what we're going to do.
Right.
I would say between Alan and I, if we both did this, even and still both of us keep our full-time job, I'm thinking 500 plus hives will not be a problem.
I've got to figure out where, I do have, well, prime example. You remember when we were out at that plantation place, right? He said I could put bees over there.
Why wouldn't you? I would have already had them there. He even had that covering for you, man. I'd have bees out there in a heartbeat.
And split it up. But I guess transport is the next problem, transporting them over there. And then he's got that gate, so I'd have to have a code to the gate, right?
I don't think that'd be a problem. I think he'd give you that pretty easy.
And then how much is too much for him? That's the thing. What I don't want is I don't want to put 10 hives here, 10 hives here, 10 hives here, and then have to drive every time I have a day to go work bees, drive to 5 different spots to do 10 bees, 10 hives.
Oh yeah, no, you probably want to have 40 or something like that at each location.
So, and I got to go back out there again. We still haven't cut it open.
What?
We still haven't taken those bees out of there.
No, they're twice as big.
Yeah, well, and make it twice as worth going out there. So that's the other thing. I got to do that. So hopefully this weekend.
What's the thing here? DC Bees has got a few questions there. I haven't. I can't follow. I got to read the comments on my phone while we're on the chat here. So it just says, "Ask him, Bob. What are you trying to do?"
Ask him to put the bees out there.
Oh.
Oh, well, I already did. I said, hey, that'd be a perfect spot for bees right over there.
He even indicated that you could put them underneath that shelter, and I mean, you don't get any better than that.
So yeah, they say that, but they want me to remove bees because they moved into his house. Wild bees. Oh, James has blinked out. So, that's the other thing is I could probably get away with trading them out some honey, right? Yeah, here's some bees. Here's how much honey you want this year for
Yep.
keeping them out here.
Yep, exactly.
And yeah, that would be. Is that air thick up there? You certainly are coughing a lot.
It's all sorts of smoke and everything again. Absolutely. So, I think our air quality was a 10 plus again. So, yeah, smoke is coming in. We got a fire just north of Grand Prairie by about, and Grand Prairie's not that big. I mean, I can drive from one side of Grand Prairie to the other side of Grand Prairie in 10 minutes, maybe, even if I hit every bloody light. And then I'm going to say 15 minutes north of Grand Prairie, there is a fire there that last I heard was 5,800 acres and out of control. So it just.
In New York, we're getting smoke from Quebec.
Yep. Yep. And it was interesting because we were watching it. They were on our news up here. They were saying Toronto was complaining that they got their air quality is at an 8. And if you guys remember when we had the fires and everything like that really, really close here, our air quality didn't drop below a 10 plus for 3.5 weeks. And so
apparently we're being invaded now.
Yes, we are.
Bear. You remember where we went to the bee store?
Yep.
That's in the town. Black bear in the town where they're at. So.
Well, put them into a rug.
Make him into a rug. So
Yeah,
so you're saying I need an out yard.
I think you need an out yard. Yep. I think that is what's holding you back here right now. You have too many bees in that little location. You've just got it saturated.
Drive to work bees.
So,
or reduce my colonies.
Well, one or the other, right? I wouldn't reduce your colonies. I mean, they're all still kind of fighting a little bit, but just don't expect any large honey crop. You're going to get the same amount of honey. You're just going to divide it over the number of bees. There is only so many resources, right?
Right.
Well,
I'll have to take half out, Bob, and put them at the plantation. Well, it's all woods around there too.
So here's one of the things that you want to think of if you're going to do that. So if you're going to take and make an out yard, and this is just a suggestion. So once again, do what you do you, I think, as the bug farmer would say. But I would take full size hives out to your out yard. Nothing smaller than 10 frames. I'd make sure they were all deep. That's going to limit the number of trips that you're going to have to make. I would leave your nukes and the things that you're working on or splitting and stuff like that at your house, the smaller ones that need more attention. So that'll reduce the number of trips. It'll reduce your fuel down there is dirt cheap too. So,
right.
That's what I'd look at doing.
But this is not the time of year to be moving them, right?
No, I would say you're going to want to plan all this up for next year. Your season's pretty much done down there now.
We get a fall flow though.
Okay.
I mean, splitting them, what I might have missed out on in the spring, if I split them and take some down there, then I might have a better time of capturing more of the fall flow.
You might. Yep. Yeah, I don't know what your flows are. Like I say, that's where I'm at a loss. I don't know what your flows and what your temperatures and stuff like that are down there. I can tell you and assist you and help you and guide you to make bees. I can guide you and assist you and help you make splits, and I can guide you and assist you in how to graft. but I don't know your weather pattern or your flows or anything like that down there at all. So
We got hot and not so hot.
there you go.
James has hot too.
It is brutally hot up here right now. Yeah, like you say, 30. I think they're saying 32 degrees Celsius tomorrow. I don't know what that works out in Fahrenheit. Here, I'll tell you.
Right now, hitting 51.
Ooh.
67 here right now.
All right, temperature. 32 degrees Celsius is 89.6 degrees Fahrenheit tomorrow.
So if I took 40 colonies over there, that would be 2/3 of my colonies.
No, there you go. And if you're out there at the plantation, there's probably more forage area out there. That's more farmer's field. What about that new? Did you talk to those people that have the strawberries? That you said that they have that new field there.
No, last year I talked to them, and they didn't seem interested.
Okay.
So I don't know. They sell honey there, but it's not their honey. It's somebody else's honey. And berries bloom here in like December. The flower in December.
Oh yeah.
For May harvest. So, yeah, I guess. And I've got people that, everyone says, oh, well, you can bring bees out here. But then it's like, oh, you can bring a couple, 2 colonies, 3 colonies. Yeah, not what I'm looking for.
It's not really worth driving that far for 2 or 3.
Now, the Chestnut Grove did say, they didn't care if I brought bees back there. But last year I only had 5 nukes out there, and they didn't do well. So I didn't.
But I'm going to ask a question on that. What kind of nukes were they?
They're not the nukes from this year. I'll say that.
So that could be your problem.
But when I mean take bees out there, I mean that's 15 acres right there. And it's right across the street from the strawberries down there.
Yeah.
That if I put them there, I want to put them there. You know what I mean? That's where their home needs to be.
And that's not that far.
No, like 3 or 4 miles. And I pass that all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Where the plantation, I have to go further out, away from everything.
A further drive. I do apologize to all the viewers there with me hacking and coughing here tonight.
They should be used to it watching me on here.
So, hey, I noticed you were smoking again. What the hell, you quit?
Well, yeah, it's something about live streams. I paused.
My God.
But I haven't. Yeah, I know it's difficult. It's
So
difficult. So.
You had 4 cigarettes tonight, Bob.
4. That's not bad. Usually it's like 4 packs when we've gone for 3 hours.
brutal.
Most time I light them and they burn in the ashtray, just burn up. But since you mentioned it, and so yeah, that's kind of I had to order some more Apis.
There you go.
Coming in. Trying to work on getting that out there a little bit more.
Right on.
And
well, Alan did his first round of grafts up here, and he managed 50% of his very first attempt, so that was pretty good. He got 12 out of 24 takes.
That's good.
So that's all right.
I like old Alan.
So,
and I haven't even met him. Just talking through you talking at him.
So he's a pretty good guy. His brother is pretty darn good too. So,
well, I had a guy approach me asking, was I hiring? Because he's got a few years of beekeeping experience. I said, nope, not at the moment. I should have said, no, I'm not. But if you want to keep your skills up to date.
And
it's
it's interesting because I have people that want to pay me to come, learn beekeeping from me. And although that sounds great, there can be a lot of damage done very, very quickly if you don't, not sure what you're doing there. So I haven't taken them up on that offer yet, but
Let me see. I'm going to make a random post. I need land to place some bees,
Honeybees.
beehives.
maybe you should put the number of beehives in there. That way you don't
Need
get,
some land
bring one here, bring one
to
there.
place 40
There you go.
beehives. There you go. Place 40 beehives. See if some farmers are like, heck yeah, come on.
So
We plant something that's no good for bees, and you can bring them out here. What I really wish is some of these peach farmers down here would say, heck yeah, bring them out here. We'll let you place them in the peach orchards.
well, you guys got to have peaches, you got to have berries and stuff like that. I would think so.
Yeah, we got blueberries around here, but it's not the season, right? So,
You're not gonna get a lot of nectar out of blueberries.
let me see. I can't put there we go, background. I need I need a yellow background. That's the color we need.
Mine's changing.
I see that. What do you got, LEDs or TV going?
Yeah, TV's on at the other end of the room here.
And see if anybody bites on that. 40 colonies. That means I'd have to buy 40 more setups so I could re up here. 20 more. I'd have to buy 20 more.
Yeah, then you're going backwards again, right?
If I got 40 out there, wherever that is, and 40 here, that'd bring me to 80.
And what are you at right now?
60.
So you take 40 out, you keep 20 there, and then you work from those 20.
And then I make 80 nukes in the spring.
Well, what have I sold this year? 110, and I will have 40, so I'll be right around about 150 this year.
So I think I'm going to sell the other uncapping tank
There you go.
and the tabletop uncapper. So I feel like if I sell it for what the current price is without shipping, like someone comes and picks it up, that's a fair deal. Because I take the L on the shipping that I paid, right?
Yeah.
But I'm making a little bit more off of what I paid for it. So
What is that capper like that worth?
$440.
No, yeah.
And it was right at $1,000 for the tank. So $1,400 between the two. And let it go. So if any of you guys, Dennis, need a uncapping tank and a tabletop uncapper, you can have it for the mere price of $1,400. And you have to pick it up. But I hope you load it on the truck.
Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind.
And if there's any wax in it, you can have that too. No, I'm just kidding. I'll even rinse it out for you. So but then it's like, well, I was thinking about the clarifier, but I just can't get over the pump prices. The pump prices are what's driving me insane. The pump, I mean, for a clarifier and a pump costs $4,000 roughly.
Yeah, they got this. You got me looking on this Alibaba or whatever the hell it is now. That same honey pump there is like $200.
The same exact one.
Yeah, I think it had stainless steel and everything all in there.
I guarantee it's the same one, just rebranded. I look at the frames, and I like that everybody likes to think that we came up with it, the Chinese knocked it off. That's probably a fair assumption. But some of that stuff, I think, like, I don't know for a fact, but like Pureco, Acorn, they just buy so many from China that they get their name put on it.
It's possible.
Don't know that, but seems like if I was a businessman, that's probably the cheapest way to do it. If you had the money to do that. China, I know. Unfortunately,
I have a hard time supporting China. That's all.
well, we all do. We just support them via U.S. distributors. Makes us feel a little bit better about ourselves. As far as I know, Man Lake doesn't make their own foundation, so I wonder where they're getting that from. Just saying. You know. Just saying. Now you got me wanting to look at Alibaba. And what'd you put in? Honey Pump?
I think I put in Honey Pump. Yep. Actually, I think I found when I did that, I found your little bottler there too.
Oh yeah, for half the price.
It was like 200 and.
Oh, shut up! Just shut up already. But what's the? I wonder what the duties and the taxes are on that.
Well, here's one for you. Your that little cell mover toolbox.
Yeah.
So if you take a look on some of the places now, they're selling those things for like $1,200. I bought the toolbox. I think cost me $12. The controller I think was $12. The heating pads were $8. The cord I think was $6. The foam I think was $18. So I built one for less than $100 Canadian.
Dennis, Alibaba is where Chinese manufacturers sell their stuff. And from what I understand with Alibaba, you got to be selective on who you actually buy from on there. But from everything I've researched, if they have the PayPal option to take payment, that's the ones that have kind of been vetted by, you might as well say a third party, right? PayPal. And
the other thing you have to watch about that is their minimum order quantity. So it might say, it might be $200 for something that, you're thinking you're paying $1,200 for. But if you take a look at it, the order quantity is you need to order 50 of them or something like that. So you really have to watch that closely.
So they have honey transfer pump. It says transfer pump for honey, tomato paste, slurry, and honey pump. I don't know. It's got a bunch of words, but it's like $400. And you just, I guess, sits in the bottom of a barrel and sucks it up.
And away you go.
It's a gear pump, right? Or a lobe pump.
A lobe pump. You don't want a gear pump. Gear pump, very susceptible to wax. The lobe pump, not so much.
And they've got all kinds of food grade rotary lobe sanitary pump, positive displacement pump for chocolate, oil, honey. That's more of a heavy duty looking one.
I think if I remember, that one was like $400 or $600 too, right?
Showing. Oh, it's got a minimum order quantity of 2 too. So
yeah. And what did they want for that one?
$800 for that one. But they have some Shanghai gear pump, $170. That's just the pump. That doesn't have the motor. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff on there, beekeeping related. Even that motorized extractor and everything. James says he lost $80 on that site. Yeah, you got to be selective. And if they've been in business a long time, right? Like they have a 24 frame extractor for $779 to $879.
Depending on the quantity ordered.
Yeah, but it says one set.
Okay.
But what's a set? Is it a set of 2, set of 5? Don't know. But yeah, they have some stuff on there. It's just everything I've seen says you have to be very selective about who you're dealing with on there. sanitary rotary stator, small stainless steel, hygienic chocolate, peanut butter, honey, jam pump. $800, and it's on a roll cart. Yep, I'll have to dive into that more. Let me see. My friend ordered from Temu. He ordered a hose, and it was 75 foot long, and he paid like $17 for it. But it's one of those collapsible ones that you see in the store that you pay $40 for, like something much shorter than that. So I don't know. We'll see. He'll tell me if it breaks on him.
That's the next thing I got to build is before. Well, I got a couple months here, but I got to get my. I need a much bigger syrup container and pump and hose reel, and I got to get all that put together here now. That'll be the next thing. There's always something.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I just got to let sales catch up to what I'm buying.
There you go. Well, we what did we do tonight? So, well, in order to deliver these nukes or hives or whatever you want to call it, so I had to went over my trailer. So I'd lent my trailer out, and they ended up bending the axle on it, so I had to replace the axle. And of course, well, because the axle was bent, they did the tires in, so 4 new tires. And while I'm under there, I might as well replace the brakes, right? Confirm all the lights. So we did all that tonight. And then what did we do? We cut up another, there's got to be, 150 inner covers there out of the Reflectix covers. So we cut all those up. We got those ready to go too. So, but
I need to do that as well. I need to buy Reflectix to do that.
So
makes it easier to take the lid off, right?
It sure does.
Especially if you live in a place that does a lot of propolis. Did you see the 72 frame extractor they have on there? Multi-suite group? $3,000 for a 72 frame extractor.
That was the rotary one though as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have been doing your homework. You've been crunching the numbers, haven't you?
Let's just say I've been looking closely at the design of some of that equipment.
Knock it off, baby.
So
I tell you what, if money was no object, I feel like by the time I get to enough colonies, I feel like I would have probably been cheaper just to buy the mini extracting line and just been done with it.
Well, that's exactly the advice Ian gave me, right? He says you won't go wrong. He says, put the money into the extraction line.
But it's hard to swallow $35,000 at one time, unless it's a car and they finance it forever.
Yeah, but that's just the extraction line. Then you got to put the because I'm a one-man show, you need to put the box lifter, the deboxer. You need to put the rails on the back, so the empty boxes can go from one end to the other, right? And then you just that gives you a clarifier and a pump and a wax press, but you still need the filter system. You still need the bottling tank. You still need, a whole pile of stuff like this too. So,
but are you what? As far as filtering, it comes with the clarifier, the mini line.
Comes with a clarifier. I'd still run it through. I'm looking at, if you take a look on that Alibaba as well, they have the multi-stage honey filters, and they're the pressure filter. So your pump would actually pump your honey through the filter.
So you're not waiting on it to drain. It's actually
right. So there's a company in Canada that makes those as well. So.
Honey filtration machine. It's water, honey filtration.
Yeah, I researched a bunch of those. Usually the 3 canister ones, from what I understand, seem to be a little bit better. And then you have to ask yourself the question, when you get to, if everything goes good, what will I be looking at this year? Let's call it 100 hives. Let's call it 10,000 pounds of honey. Do I want to be bottling it, or do I just now start to sell to the co-op?
Well, that's what Doug was saying. He sells some to the co-op and keeps some to sell.
Yeah. So they allow you to do some of that up here. So if you're a member of the co-op up here, they'll let you sell to, they'll let you sell some locally. They'll let you sell at some of kind of the night markets and stuff. But part of the agreement is you can't put it in stores. You can't compete, right? So, and I fully understand that.
But
I got to buy a new tripod. I ran over my tripod. Whoops.
You see my tripod?
Well, it was kind of obvious. So I have one that works well for my iPad, of which I use 90% of the time. But just the other night when I was trying to show you guys those grafting frames and stuff, I got nothing to hold my phone. So I got to get something for my phone.
I'm surprised they don't have. I was looking for a honey clarifier on here. I didn't see that. Alibaba don't have a honey clarifying tank. Maybe that's what I need to put. Clarifying tank. Honey clarifier tank. Okay, well that's what I thought I put in the first time. No, milk storage. I don't know. Look at it later.
But,
Let me see.
So I'll be. I'm off work tomorrow, and I'll be pretty much in the apiary all day tomorrow, equalizing and go from there. So I've had 2 swarms this year already. One I caught, one I didn't. So I think one of the 4-H hives swarmed. So that's unfortunate, but that's part of what they'll learn.
Bob, what have we got in this area to use all this equipment on? I see not that much nectar sources: corn, soybeans, and a little cotton. Depends on what I have in the woods. I think most of our nectar is coming off of privet and flowers, berries, stuff like that early in the year. Later in the year, primarily from the goldenrod and stuff like that out in the fields.
Yeah, see, our goldenrod is blooming up here right now. And in about 2 to 3 weeks, our canola will be going. And this is going to be the first year. I normally try to stay away from canola. This year, I'm actually going to put an apiary right on the canola field. I'm going to see what that does. Now, I know that comes with some hazards. So
that's the honey you sell to the co-op.
Yeah. So, no, actually, I'm just about out of honey. In fact, we put the last, I think, 2 pails in the warmer. We were trying to figure out whether I put that Tuesday or Wednesday. But I'm out 3,500 pounds gone. So,
well, if you're like me, because you knew you were running low, you weren't as diligent going back to the stores because you didn't really have what you needed to keep them stocked up,
Yep.
But I think you're gonna make a killing on it this year, and I'm excited for you. And you better start extracting now with that 13 framer to get it done.
12 frames.
12 frames. Why do I keep adding an extra frame in there?
It's not a baker's dozen. It's only 12.
12 frames for you, 1 frame for me.
Yeah, there you go. But we're taking a look at it. Actually, I should take a look at that tomorrow, because they're drawing comb and stuff. So like I said, I probably have 120 frames out there of capped honey. I should maybe pull that and look at spinning that. So what I found is every 12 frames will give me about 60 pounds. And so, or a little better than 60 pounds. So 12 frames will fill a 5-gallon bucket right to the top. So.
And how are you straining that right now?
Through a 400 micron filter.
And it doesn't plug up on you?
Oh, no, it plugs up. I got about 6 of them that I'll keep rotating through.
Let's see, that's been my problem. Straining. Well, I got several problems. That's one of them. So it's funny. Oh no, that's not. That's a sterilizer. I was going to say it's funny that we were talking about the incubators, and all of a sudden I got something that looked like the incubator up in my advertisements. Right? I'm like,
it's funny.
Google's listening. The man is listening.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a reptile incubator. I just got it right off of Amazon. It works really, really good. The only downside I would say to it is the indication of the inside temperature that is on the incubator itself is off by about 1 or 2 degrees, and there's no way to calibrate it. That would be my only downside. Now, I just got a little, I got a little gauge that tells me the temperature and humidity of which I put on the inside, and
right.
Now I know that I have to offset it by about 2 degrees. So if I want it to be 34 degrees Celsius in there, I set it for 36. And it'll keep it between 33 and 34 degrees for me.
Oh, one night. Let's see.
I bought, where did I buy it? I bought it off of Amazon.
What make is it? Is that a Vivo? Looks like a Vivo type.
I'm not.
Because in white, yellow, and red.
Red. That could be. Yeah, I got the red one. Yeah.
The red costs a little bit more. The white's the cheap one.
So.
Don't you pay about 130?
No, I didn't even pay that for it. I think I ended up paying something like $80 Canadian for it.
Oh, that's good.
Minty honey. I don't know. I gotta find something, even if I have to buy an acre somewhere.
There you go. And as far as that incubator, I can put. Well, I got 47 cells in there right now, and I could probably put. Probably about 100 cells in there at a time.
Well,
and Bob, if you do get an out-yard, how about security?
Well, that plantation has a gate, and
okay, good. Now, how far is that from the house? Is the beehives going to be?
I don't know. 5 miles? 5 so miles? You went with me in the truck.
Yeah, something like that.
Wasn't that far?
And the hives would be what, 200 yards from their house, 300 yards from their house.
Yeah, and that's fenced.
And they have it all fenced. They have what they say, they had Clydesdales or something in there.
Yeah, they had horses in there at one time. Maybe I could go out there with a bag of something and seed that field, that yard too, but it looked pretty manicured. So.
What's going to happen? You put 40 hives there, the bees will be harassing them. They can say, "Get those bees out of here."
That's possible, but they're right next to my house. They only harass James, and he's
one hive.
Yeah, that one colony. It's pretty heated.
Spicy.
It is. That's a spicy meatball.
It's interesting because I didn't. I had my veil and stuff on there. Alan and I were out there working the other night, and it was getting dark. And I probably shouldn't have been doing what I was doing, but didn't have it zipped up or anything. A couple of the girls nailed me right on the throat, just like both within about, I'm going to say a second of each other. It was like, ow. ow, and yeah, that was my cue to say, you know what, I think I'm done in the apiary for the night.
It's getting too late. They didn't like it anymore. Well, guys, I think it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning here. I'm gonna go ahead and call it for this evening. We got Charlie's later on today. Now we can say that.
There you go.
And we'll go over there tomorrow. So think of some good stuff to talk about.
I'll tell you
I still say we need to make these things a theme night. So, here's the topic this night, and provide the topic for the next stream, or live stream at the end of this one, and then the guys got a little bit of time to prepare.
Sounds good.
So,
Sounds like we need to do something like that for sure.
but
all right, guys. Well, we will call it a night.
Have a good night, everybody.
We'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
In